Hello, and welcome to the Most Magical Podcast, where we give you tips and advice to visit the Disney parks like a pro, helping you to maximize the magic by mastering the planning. And today is a super exciting episode because we are talking everything D23. And it's very exciting because we have a first time guest and a returning guest. So please welcome Jin and Mike. How are you doing, guys?
Hey.
Sophie, how are you doing?
I'm so good. I'm so excited to get to chat to you both. Jin, you were on the first ever episode, and now we've got the dream team. We've got both of you here today.
Thank you, thank you.
Wearing matching t-shirts today.
I'm obsessed.
A couple of t-shirts.
Yes.
It's so awesome. And this is going to be such an exciting topic to talk about because obviously it's fresh news. There's so much news, but also you went to D23. So I cannot wait to hear about your experience of that. It's going to be
Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's going to be so fun. And what a lot of news came out of D23. For people that don't know, D23 is held every 2 years, and it's kind of when we hear the updates about the parks, entertainment, what's coming out over the next couple of years. And this year, it was a big year, I felt. So should we dive into the parks news?
Let's get to it. Yeah, let's get to it.
This was the thing I was most excited for. I was like, this is the day. This is the one I need to.
Same.
Yeah, this was, I think for us, this was the big thing we were looking forward to personally. Yeah.
Exactly, especially because there's been lots of rumors flying around.
Yeah.
And then we were like, let's find out what's confirmed. So should we start with Disney World?
I think that's the biggest. So let's go big.
Yes. Well, my most favorite announcement, Villains Land. It's
okay. That was mine too.
Yeah,
I've been looking forward to that. I'm still trying to find a friend to get me into the Villains Lounge in the Contemporary Hotel. But yes, Villains Land is definitely, I think that's my favorite. So I'm very excited for that. Where did they say where they were planning on putting that in, or
they haven't? No, I've seen people guess that they think it's going to be behind Frontierland because there had been rumors about it. Yes, and like we had heard that maybe Villains Land was going to be there, so I'm assuming that is what's happening. So it's very exciting, and the artwork is amazing. It looks like there's going to be a coaster as one of the rides.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to a lot of this because there's a lot of Villains fans in the parks already. Yes. So I'm just kind of looking forward to seeing what the guests and the fans are going to do in that land because people are going to get dressed up. People are going to have all sorts of crazy shirts about how they're their favorite villain or something.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to Villains Land.
So true.
Dr. Facilier, if I remember correctly.
Really? Obsessed, absolutely obsessed with him, and I'm like, this is the thing that I'm most excited about. Is there going to be lots of Villains merch now? And I can't wait.
I'm sure there's going to be plenty of merch. I think we can count on that.
It's going to be so good. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see which villains are portrayed in the land.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming they're going to have like
Maleficent,
the big hitters, Evil Queen.
Yes.
Whatever movie of the season's coming out, I'm sure we'll see those villains running around. I'm hoping they kind of do something like maybe Marvel Campus at DCA where they maybe rotate out and they come out more instead of kind of meet and greets. That would be fantastic. If you're going around Villains Land and the villains are just out. Obviously, we're going to get Cruella, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
That would be so good. Because like you said, they've got so much scope because they could have done like a whole park themed on villains. So like you said, with it being just a land, it would be so great if they kind of incorporate as many villains as possible, and having like roaming characters would be the way to do that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to do like a villain's castle?
Well, from the artwork, it does look like there's going to be a Maleficent castle, and
that building, right?
That would kind of be my guess. I was thinking I was thinking Maleficent. Yes. So maybe something straight out of kind of the Fantasia. There's like a mountain in that one.
Yeah, with that one, I think it was towards the end of the parks announcement. We might get to that a little bit later, but Josh D'Amaro was about to wrap up, and then all of a sudden, because one of our friends actually went to the parks panel, and they were like, okay, things are wetting down, whatever. And Mike was kind of like, oh, just wait. I think something big is about to be announced. So sure enough, that was the last thing and the biggest thing.
I absolutely love they waited till last to announce that because it's the one everyone was waiting for, which is so exciting. In fact, we're getting new dining, and like, how much fun will that be? Like,
well, there's definitely going to be villain food, right?
Yes.
Gotta have villain food.
It's got to be. But do you think maybe they'll do a character dining mill with villains.
Oh, villains character dining.
That
Yeah.
would be
Oh,
epic.
okay. That's up my alley. I would
Yes.
love a villain's character dining.
I think
That
that
would
could
be
be incredible.
because the one at the not the Wilderness Lodge. What's the one with Wilderness
Yes.
Lodge
Yeah.
with Snow White?
Yes.
That one, the Wicked Queen, and that is the best.
It's so
That is
good.
probably one of the best things about that character dining. So I
Yes.
can just imagine if you turn that up, that would be fantastic.
Exactly. 'Cause
And
that's
they're
the thing,
saying,
isn't it?
yeah,
Sorry, I was going to at the moment you can't really meet villains. That's like the only locations. The fact
That's
that
what
you can actually have
that's
some
what I
there
was
now.
trying to think. I think that's
Yes.
the only one.
yeah.
And she's fantastic in it. She'll lurk around your table and just be like
Exactly.
super menacing. And then like, if the kids get a little panicked, she'll back off.
I
But
love
it's
that.
really fun.
So in terms of just kind of like a groundbreaking, did they give us a kind of a date of when that's supposed to
No, I haven't heard anything. I have seen that the theory is that ground will be broken on all of these projects within the next 5 years. But then how
Okay.
long it takes to complete is another matter.
Yeah, no, but as we were talking about in our little D23 sum up, is that nothing is blue sky, which is actually really exciting.
Yes.
That is huge.
That's the big.
Yes. Because I
And
think
he
that's the thing,
started off
isn't it?
that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because so many people are like, oh, but we've heard this before, and then they've got cancelled and stuff. But the fact that they were like this, everything's like the wheels are already in motion, like it's happening, is amazing.
Yeah. And that led to when they were talking about Animal Kingdom, not to completely switch gears, at Destination the previous year, they were still kind of talking about the new lands there
Aspirationally. Yeah.
and they came out this time and were like, nope, we're
doing it.
So
That's so
it's been
exciting.
great. The international parks got a lot of love last year. They got some love this year. So last year we were feeling left out here in the North American parks, and they definitely brought it. So there was villains, and what else did we hear about? We heard about Cars.
Yes, staying in Magic Kingdom, Cars Land.
Yeah.
No, it's not land, it's just an expansion of Frontierland. But I think it looks like great rides. Like I love that it kind of looks like it could be kind of similar to Radiator Springs Races, but it's kind of like
That's what I
adventure.
thought too. Yeah.
I think the thing that looks to me is because they're talking about being a hill climb type ride, I think they're going to do something different that we haven't seen, where it's going to be a little bit more dynamic of a ride vehicle.
Like not rougher, but more dynamic.
Yeah, more dynamic.
Yeah,
So
that'll be so road,
interesting.
Like off road.
I'm thinking maybe something not quite like the Indiana Jones or the dinosaur ride, but a car type ride where the car doesn't just follow the track, or maybe it does, but it's more dynamic. I don't know.
It's like off-roading. I think
yeah.
it's like yeah. I think that's
so interesting. And that's something that I think is really good to talk about, is the fact that although we're seeing some things that are similar, so people go, oh, but you've got Cars in Disneyland already, they really are making sure that they are very distinctly different, which I think is great. Because when it's copy and pasted, it's like, do you need to visit both parks? But
which we've been getting a lot here.
Yes,
we've been getting we've been getting the greatest hits, but we've been getting a lot of copy and paste. So I think it'll be good to get some new rides that are unique again to the Magic Kingdom in there. I think the last one was a Seven Dwarf Mine Train. Is that the last one that was kind of unique? So looking forward to those. I'm really looking forward to the Cars ones.
How do we feel about them putting this new Cars Land where it is by knocking out Tom Sawyer's Island? And
you wanted to go straight to the hot button.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go there.
Okay. So
what do you think?
My hot take on this would be, sorry, Sophie, didn't mean to cut you off.
Go for it.
I think my hot take on this would be, yes, a lot of people, I think, have nostalgia over that.
Yep.
But we've gone to that island a couple of times now, and nobody's really on it. Nobody really uses it. So I feel like it's an underutilized area in the park.
Yes.
It's obviously one of the original parts of it, so it's kind of sad to see anything like that go. But I'm positively optimistic, I think, of the new changes. So
what do you think, Sophie?
Yeah, what do you think?
I agree. And I think it's that thing of it's very scenic and it's very beautiful. But like you say, it's not really used. So it does make sense for them to go, actually, let's retheme this and then we'll have things there to do. Because like you say, like no one goes to Tom Sawyer Island. And because I'm going to Disney World too, I keep checking the wait times. And everyone's obviously been upset. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they're getting rid of it. It's still always a 5-minute wait, which means there's no queue. So it's not something people are going back.
Usually that FOMO kicks in a little bit before they're actually going to close the
Yes.
ride, and then it gets full. I think that happened to us for Country Bear Jamboree. We had stopped. It had been forever since I've been, so I stopped by one trip just to see it again, and it was good. And then, but again, it wasn't a very busy attraction. And then they
Yeah.
announced that they were going to close it for a while, and then just everybody showed up.
Yeah,
So I think
exactly
there's,
that.
as soon as they get closer to that, I think you're going to see those wait times spike. So if your listeners or watchers are planning trips around that time,
Yeah.
plan accordingly.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
what are your thoughts on what are they going to do with the boats and everything? And then the other thought that,
Oh yeah, that's a good
Yes,
question.
I saw someone and I was like, this would be amazing if they did that, but I don't know if they would. But someone said they should move it to the Port Orleans Resort and turn it into a restaurant.
the whole boat?
Yeah. And I'm like, that would
Oh,
be amazing. I don't know if it would fit.
yeah, that's
But
yeah. Where are they going to fit that? So kind of like the boathouse in Disney Springs, then just have
yes,
that be a boat restaurant.
yes. Because otherwise, I wonder what would they do? Would they just dismantle them? Like, or do you think they will keep them?
I heard rumors that they might move it to Disneyland Paris.
That
Interesting.
would
Because
be
we do
amazing.
already have a boat. It's called the Molly Brown, which is very
Hmm.
simple. So I don't know if they would replace the Molly Brown with this.
They might just add it.
Yes, well, yeah, maybe they'd have two, although it's very small, like the
Yeah,
route, but maybe they could do that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they're going to do with it because, like you say, there's such iconic parts of the park.
exactly, exactly. And Mike was mentioning just kind of commission that as one of the ferry boats, and I'm like, I don't think that capacity is big enough to do the ferry.
Yeah,
That
I
would
don't
be
think
amazing.
getting unloading and offloading would be a challenge. I was just trying to think of
It's
any way to
true.
keep it and reuse
Yeah,
it. But I like the idea of a restaurant.
yeah.
They're
That would be
already
pretty
doing
fun.
something like that at Disney Springs.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
And I
yeah,
think what I'm missing the most about Tom Sawyer's Island is it is kind of a little bit of a quiet piece of land inside
100%.
Magic Kingdom. So whenever
Yes,
you feel like overwhelmed, you don't want to deal with a lot of crowds, that's always kind of my go-to place to just chill, have a relaxed, a quiet time. But
yes.
yeah, now that Cars Land is going there, I don't know if Magic Kingdom now has any pockets of peace.
It's so true. It's so true. Because, like you say, that is the place where it's just calm and like it feels like you're outside of Disney almost. It's
Yes.
amazing because you can still see Disney, but you just feel so relaxed there. So it will be a shame because, like you say, I think the parks need that balance so that you can have areas to rest and relax. So I wonder if they will do that, but where would they do it?
And with Villains Land coming in, Disney, I mean, Magic Kingdom is going to
Yes,
be so crowded.
It's already
Yeah.
a busy park, so it's
yes,
going to definitely get more intense. So
yes.
get ready.
Yeah, exactly that. And I'm wondering if one of the reasons they're doing the expansion is if you add more rides, it disperses crowds more.
That's true.
Obviously, not at first, because everyone's going to be going to Villains Land for the Cars rides, but over time, maybe they'll disperse a bit. But
And that when those open, you know, Tron and Seven Dwarfs are that probably you
yes,
can probably just walk on at that point.
yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Yeah, no one will care.
Yeah,
And I
but
think it'll be
it-
interesting to see, will they carry on with like virtual queues? How will
Mm,
this change kind of like single pass? Because inevitably these are going to be like the hot ticket rides.
yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Booking it out, it would be kind of interesting for sure.
Yeah, are they going to do a virtual queue or are they going to do single pass? I don't think they've opened up a new ride since they've announced their new
Yeah.
their
Yeah,
new
that's
sing
true.
yeah,
Yes.
their
Yeah.
new plus or whatever they're calling it now. I forget off the top of my
Yes.
Lightning Lane, single pass,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
multi-pass.
confusing,
I
isn't
have
it?
no.
All the different names. I
But I
wonder if
think
they'll do a similar thing that they've done in Tokyo with Fantasy Springs, where you actually had to book a pass to even go in the land because they knew it was going to be so busy when it
Yeah,
opened.
that's right. That's right. One of our friends had to do that, and they had to, be just right on top of it, making sure that when the time changes, it goes. But
Yes.
I guess it benefits the folks that are in the US, I guess, especially the West Coast, just because of the time difference.
Yeah.
And I think they open up at like 7 p.m. or something like West Coast time. We'll get there when we get there, but more stress to have to deal with it when it comes to Disney
Yeah,
planning for
it's
sure.
so true. It's so true. And I know a lot of people have kind of been a bit like, do cars fit in with Frontierland as a theme? What do you think?
I think with the ride that they want,
Terrain, it's
yeah,
fine,
because they
yeah.
want to do the West,
Yeah.
right? They're doing like the Western hill climb, mountain
Yep.
type land. It's not, I mean, well, Radiator Springs is also out west, but it's more desert.
Right.
I think it'll fit in
I think
fine.
so
I think
too.
it's going to
Yeah.
fit in with that with that area in that type of Western style. It's going to be a little bit different version of the West. I think it's going to be more kind of Pacific Northwest, maybe like Denver, Rocky Mountains area. So
Nice.
I think it'll fit in fine.
I think so too. I think so too.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And I think it's always people don't like change, do they? But I think once it comes in, people will love it.
Anything else that are heavy hitters in Magic Kingdom?
The only thing I wanted to mention is obviously with this happening, it
Yeah.
does also mean we've known it's coming, but Big Thunder Mountain was going to have a big refurbishment, and I'm assuming that will now coincide with the building of the Cars
Oh.
Land. So I think Cars Land, we did hear that it's going to start being built early next year or sometime next year. So I'm
Okay.
assuming if you're going to Disney World, this year, probably go on Big Thunder Mountain because it might be shut for a while.
Yes, and that we like to ride that during the fireworks if you
Yes.
can get on it. It is a
Yes.
great ride during the fireworks. You can basically get on, get off, get on, get off, get on, get off, and catch the fireworks while you're riding the ride. So if you've already seen the fireworks once and you want to
Yeah.
kind of experience it from a different angle, that's a fun way to do it.
Yeah, that's such a top tip because, like you say, it's such a unique experience, but it's just wonderful. And like you say, all the crowds can watch the fireworks, and then you get a different perspective, and you still get to see them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Good. But yeah,
I guess
the only other thing,
maybe the restaurant, right? The Pirates restaurant.
yes, the Pirates of the Caribbean Tavern.
lounge.
Yes, I'm so excited for this because I'm like, if this is going to be anything like Ogre's Cantina, where it's going to be that level of immersion, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, so I heard that they're putting some sort of a Pirates restaurant lounge on one of the cruise ships, and when they announced that they're going to put something similar to that in Magic Kingdom, I'm really excited because with cruises, we don't cruise as often as we'd like, but we do go to Magic Kingdom quite a bit, so that'll be really exciting.
There is definitely, I think, a hunger and a thirst for pirates
Yeah.
themed stuff. So I think, again, just like the Villains Land and some of the other stuff, I think this is something that a lot of people have probably been looking forward to something like it.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
it. And especially, you're right, if it's like Olga's or any of the things where they really theme it well and you
Yep.
really feel like you're going
Like
into
Trader Sam's.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You
Yeah.
feel like you're going into like a pirate's dive or something like that. That would be
And then the cast
fantastic.
members will, act out their parts.
Yeah.
That would be you'll be
I
saying
can't wait.
a lot, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it just sounds incredible. And like you say, it's so nice to be adding stuff to the park where, again, like people can go, but it's not like a ride. Like, because like you say, you do need places where you can have downtime. And this is great because you're going to have downtime, but it's still going to be loads of fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, shall we move on to another park? Because I think
We're staying in Disney World though, right?
yes, we're staying in Disney World.
Okay. All right.
Should we
Take us to the next park,
I'm
Sophie.
like, maybe because we've touched upon it, maybe we should go to Animal Kingdom.
Let's do it.
Yes. Okay.
They've got some good, huge news as well. I think that, Animal Kingdom is so.
Yes.
Where shall we start?
Well, should we start with Pueblo Esperanza? We've now got a name.
Yes. Encanto's coming to Animal Kingdom.
It looks stunning. Like from the artwork they've shown, I think this is going to be such a beautiful land, and that ride looks incredible.
No, that's the boat ride, right? That's the one that...
That's the house, the casita.
Oh, the house is the
Yeah.
one. Okay.
Yes.
We actually got to see a model of the house at D23.
And this is, you're going to go through the house. I'm trying to remember. You're going to go through the house and the house is going to interact with you while you're...
Supposedly, I don't know if you've been on the new Universal Studios, the Villains Con. It's like a
No.
conveyor belt thing. I don't know if it's going to be like a seated
I
ride
think it's
or
going to
be like a walkthrough,
Right.
That's a
Interesting.
good question. Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I
but
have
we
a
haven't
feeling...
seen any of the ride details. Although I think
No.
I have heard, I did see it in the announcement that apparently the ride vehicles are going to be pieces of furniture.
That's
That's
right.
great.
That's right. And you get to go to different rooms and just test out their magic because every member of the family has a little bit of a difference in their magic abilities.
Oh, wait a minute. Wasn't the story for this one that the boy that talks to the animals? Because you're in Animal Kingdom.
Yes.
So you're going into
Yes.
his room and you're
Right.
going on an adventure. I think that's what that was. Okay, it's all
Yes.
coming back to me
Yeah,
now.
exactly. It's
Coming
happening.
back the details.
And like
Is
you
it-
say,
it's
that's such a
Antonio,
perfect
right?
tie-in to Animal Kingdom.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because I think that's what they were
Okay,
trying to
I
do,
think that's right.
if
I
I
think that's
remember
right.
correctly.
Yes. But yeah, I think this is going to be so like gorgeous. I think it's just going to be like visually stunning.
So we actually went and dined at Tusker House just a couple like maybe a half year ago, whatever. And then there was a cast member, a server who's from that region and
Columbia, I think.
Colombia, yeah.
From
And
Colombia.
she was so excited about the possibility of a tropical America themed land or parts of it coming to Animal Kingdom. She's like, that would be the dream,
Yes.
and it's happening. So I'm sure if she's watching, she's probably very, very excited.
No, I think it's going to be great. I think Animal Kingdom, that's a perfect place, especially for that type of attraction.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
And like you
So
say, like we haven't really seen much South American representation in the
No.
parks, and there's such a huge amount of visitors coming from that part of the world.
Yes.
So I think to have that reflected in the park will be amazing.
I'm kind of surprised that they haven't done something
know.
Yes.
yet, right?
Yeah.
Either between Epcot or Animal Kingdom, right? So
It's
I know
so
there's a
true.
couple spaces in Epcot. There's like
Yeah.
3 lanes that they can do this.
It's so true. Yeah, exactly. Because people keep saying like, could they do Brazil in Epcot? And like, there's loads
That
of
would be
ideas.
amazing.
So many Brazilian guests come to
Yes.
Magic Kingdom or Disney World. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So I think that would be amazing. So to have this land, I think is going to be epic. And of course, we're also getting dinosaur rethemed, which again is controversial.
Yeah. Okay, so with that one, originally I wasn't as excited, I will admit, because I thought it was going to be a copy and paste of the
Yeah.
Indiana Jones ride that is already in Disneyland, and then I was just gonna, plop
Yeah.
it down. But sounds like it's going to be different, which I think that is pretty exciting. Pretty exciting.
Yes. Yeah, I've heard apparently they've got a brand new storyline that they've written. It's about a Mayan temple. That's going to be the setting.
And that's perfect. That fits into the tropical America land
Yes.
perfectly. So I think from a theming perspective, I think they really, this time I think they really truly thought out the just kind of the background, the context, and all the lands around it to see what makes sense. One of the things, Mike and I love about Disney is that they do a very good job about controlling your sight line and ensuring
100%.
that things that you're seeing are fits the surroundings. Universal doesn't do quite as a good of a job.
Yeah.
They've been getting better. They've been getting better.
They're kind of a movie set. I think it does make sense because from a movie set perspective, there's like, the behind the scene but
Yeah.
Disney World, certainly, they knock it out of the park.
Yeah, it's amazing. And like you
100%.
say, again, it's that thing of I think it feels like they've been listening to people that we don't want a copy and paste kind of thing
Yes.
happening. So they're like, okay, let's have this, but we'll give it its own story. And I'm like, oh, they've listened. This is amazing.
Yeah, and then to your point earlier, Sophie, about people feeling nostalgic and when something gets changed, they all go, "Oh my gosh, now it's like it's the best thing ever." But
Yeah.
truthfully, Dino Land USA, I just
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's true, isn't it?
Yeah, it's another area that's not as busy. But it is kind of like I like
It's cute.
dinosaurs ever since I was a little kid. So I do like that area of the park. The midway games are kind of fun, but again, I don't really see people playing them very often.
It's so true.
Again, I think it's just a good reuse of that space again.
Yes. Yeah, it's
And
going
what
to
do you
bring
think
much
about
more life
dinosaurs?
into that area, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sophie, what do you think about the dinosaurs ride? Are you sad that it's going away?
So I've never been on it. And this trip, I'm like, okay, please
I-
stay
well,
open
now
long enough
you
for me
have
to
to
go
say
on it so that I could go on it for the first time and the last time.
You know what? If you're there and I happen to be there, we should just do it together. How about
That'd
that?
be amazing. That'd be so good. Because
let's
I
do
don't
it.
know how I haven't gone on it. I think my last trip I avoided it because people kept saying you're gonna get motion sick, you're gonna get motion sick. However, now that I've been on Indiana Jones and I loved it, and I didn't even have time to feel motion sick because I thought I was going to die. I thought I was gonna fall out the vehicle. So now I'm like, I can take a dinosaur, it's fine.
It's similar. It's similar. It's the same ride.
Same
It
ride
really is the
vehicle.
same ride.
Oh.
And Mike, you thinks it's too dark too, right? That's kind of one of your gripes about dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's a very dark ride.
Yeah.
So I mean, they did it to kind of like hide the dinosaurs and make it scary, but it's so dark that it's kind of hard to see anything.
Right,
So
interesting.
I just feel like I'm going through a dark, jostly
And
hallway.
then all dinosaur,
And all of a sudden, dinosaur, right? Like,
we don't want to spoil it, so you'll have to kind of like see for yourself and experience.
But yeah, I'm very excited to do it once.
Yeah,
Never
again, not on my top 10 list of rides, but
Yes.
it's worth riding if you haven't ridden it.
Yes, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like we've said, change is always difficult, but also Walt Disney himself was a big fan of innovation and change.
Always changing.
And he didn't want the parks to stay static. So I think it does make sense that you're kind of getting this evolution. And like you say, that land kind of, apart from Dinosaur, no one's really going there. It's always quiet. So it will bring a whole new lease of life. And we're also getting this little carousel that looks so cute.
Replacing Triceratops. Spin.
Yeah, this carousel is actually one of the things I'm really looking forward to.
Excited about the carousel.
Yeah, I like carousels. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. They had it D23. They had one of the like wood carvings of one of the horses. The horses that you'll ride on. But it's Kevin, so it's like a Kevin bird that you can ride on. That looks great. I'm sure that one's going to be popular.
Full scale?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's you get to ride Kevin. So if you ever wanted to ride a Kevin species bird,
but the artistic rendering of what it's gonna look, it's just gonna look gorgeous. It's gonna fit right in. It looks just a whole bunch of carved wood and beautiful kind of like it looked like they were leaving it more rustic.
Yeah.
So they weren't painting it to be all shiny like the other carousels. They were gonna leave it kind of wood finish.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna
love
look
that.
So I guess they're replacing riding dinosaurs up top to riding, animals on the
Well, how many versions of the Dumbo ride do you need, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So
That
true.
is totally fair.
That's such a
We've
good
got
point.
magic carpets, we've got Dumbo,
We got 2 Dumbo
we
in
had
the same park.
Triceratops. So
Yes, it's so true. So I think, and like, I'm the same as you. I really like carousels for some reason. I don't know if it's just like the nostalgia because they feel very much like going to a theme park when you're a child. But
I mean, it inspired Disney to start the whole venture, right? So that is
100%.
a little bit of a history there.
Yes, and also I'm very excited that we're getting one of the biggest quick service restaurants in the whole of Disney World in this new
I
land.
have not heard that. Tell us more about this one.
Yeah, this is maybe it's just because I love the food, but I was so excited about this because no one else has been talking
not
about
just
it.
you,
And I'm like,
Sophie.
guys, yeah, exactly. I love it. But I'm like, do you think it's going to be South American cuisine? And I'm like, please be.
Please.
Yes, I
please.
hope so.
Where I guess it's just going to be like a food court, or is it like a table service of what?
It's going to be a quick service.
Quick service. Okay.
Yes. So I think that'll be really interesting.
So like Satuli Canteen, then something to that effect.
Right, exactly. But they've said it's going to be one of the biggest in the whole of Disney World. So they're obviously expecting it to be busy. But I think Animal Kingdom does need more dining, and I think this is perfect.
It has some of the best food, in my opinion, in all of the parks, because I think it's some of the more adventurous food and flavorful food in general in the park. So I'm really hoping they continue that trend and they do really hit some hard South American.
Let's not make it a Chipotle in Animal Kingdom.
Exactly.
Please.
Yes.
We don't need the Panda Express-esque thing that's in the China Pavilion. We don't need that.
Exactly. It'd be really interesting if they were to do, I'm sure they won't, but if it was almost like a food court and you had like a Colombia stand, a Brazilian stand, a Chile stand, and you could choose cuisines from all around South America. I think that would be amazing. Oh,
that would be really
there's an incoming cat. I will apologize.
Oh, well, I'm borrowing my parents' cat. He's settled down a little bit.
It's perfect. Yeah, cats, as soon as there's a camera on, they're like, oh, it's for me, obviously.
Is that it for Animal Kingdom?
Well, the only other thing is we've now got confirmation that Zootropolis Better Together is opening winter 2025. So again, if you're going to Animal Kingdom in the next 6 months or so, go on It's Tough to Be a Bug, because that's the last time we do that.
Yo, so sorry. Great reminder about that. How do we feel about that? How do you feel, Sophie?
It's interesting because I do love It's Tough to Be a Bug. Because firstly, I love that film.
You're one of the maybe a few people.
I know.
Love going into that attraction and watching people react. That's my favorite part of that attraction.
That's what I love. So I do actually think Zootropolis will be great because I think younger audiences will know it. And like it is a great film. Of course, they're also having another film. So the fact that they can carry on with this story in Animal Kingdom, I think it makes perfect sense. What do you think?
I am the one of the people that I will avoid It's Tough to Be a Bug for life because it just frightened me so much and traumatized me so much when I was younger and when I was,
I love
become an
that.
adult. So I am not sad that it's going away. I will be one of those people that are rejoicing for
Yeah.
cuter, cuddlier animals going into
I
the
love
tree of
that.
life.
I'm wondering, do you think they'll keep the same effects or will they make it a whole different show?
I don't know. I mean, not to give spoilers, but with the creepy crawlies under your seat, would they do something like that? I guess they can have the little rats that are, shifting around.
The hamsters.
Those are rats. They're rats, right? They're the rats from New Jersey.
I forget.
The mafia
yeah.
rats.
Yeah. That could be
So I don't know.
perfect.
It's probably going to be same mechanics, but just
Yep.
different scenes, different animatronics.
I don't know. I think they're probably going to retheme. I think they're going to redo it.
Yeah, because I think it's a 3D show right now, right? Like 3D
Right.
show with animatronics and stuff.
And my guess is that part of it, the basic concept will stay the same,
Yeah.
but I gotta imagine they're gonna do a bunch of stuff because
Yeah.
what are you gonna? There's spiders coming down from the ceiling. What are you gonna do with?
That's
But
true.
hey, I'm not an Imagineer, so I'm
Yeah.
sure
Leave it
they've
to
got
them.
fun
Leave it to
ideas.
them.
They'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
exactly.
And that's coming up soon too, right? That's actually going to be opening in
Yes.
2025.
Yes, which is very exciting. So again, we don't have timelines for when things are shutting, but because
Yeah.
we kind of know these things, like that's coming 2025. I know Pueblo Esperanza is coming 2027, so that is ages away, but that has been said it's going to take phases. And
Yeah.
dinosaurs shutting in the first phase. So we know that these two rides or attractions are going to shut kind of soon, but we just don't know
Yeah. Yeah, they have to because otherwise,
Yeah.
we're like August now, 2024. So
when.
give them
Exactly.
6 months to retheme it, refurbish it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be busy for a while. That's
It's
for
going to
sure.
be a lot of
Yes.
construction going on. I think
Yeah.
that's something that our guests, our audience probably needs to know that if
Yep.
you're coming to Disney World in the next couple of years, up to 5 years, be expecting a lot of construction.
Yeah, I don't think
Yes.
they're going to be able to hide filling in if they
100%.
do indeed fill that lagoon in Magic Kingdom. They're not going to be able to hide that.
They'll put a wall up.
They'll
Yeah,
try.
Instead of Wall
exactly.
Pod, we'll have Wall Kingdom for a
Yes,
while.
exactly. No, it's so true. And we'll come on to it later, but Disneyland Paris is at the moment having this massive transformation
Yeah.
in Walt Disney Studios Park. And that is very, very, very noticeable construction.
Mm.
But like you say, I think Magic Kingdom's definitely going to be the same because, like with Animal Kingdom, that land, you could kind of miss it if you weren't paying attention.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
I don't think that will be too disruptive. But like you say,
Yeah.
there's no way if you're like filling in the river, you can't notice that.
It's just magic. Disney
Yeah,
magic. When
exactly.
it's just gone. No
Yeah,
more water.
exactly.
Well,
And I
to
do
be fair, it was an artificial river to begin with, so they're just putting
That's
the
true. Yeah,
So Sophie,
exactly.
you're
They're
definitely
just drain it.
at the right time to be able to catch a lot of these rides before they go away for permanently.
100%, because that was my thought. I was like, this has worked out amazingly because there's going to be
Yeah.
so much change, and it's going to be so interesting to go back and be like, oh, what's happening now? Because yeah, like this is going to be the trip. Like I specifically made a point now of being like, I'm going to Tom Sawyer Island. I'm probably
Yeah.
not done, but I'm going this time.
I'm sure we're going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
we're definitely make sure we go there at least a couple times.
Before it goes away.
Exactly that. And like you said, I think that is Epcot coverage. So shall we move on to Hollywood Studios?
There's some fun things happening in Hollywood Studios.
excited.
Oh
I'm
my
so
gosh.
Like I had no clue. I hadn't heard like rumors or inklings of a Monsters Inc. land. So when
No, they kept that under wraps so much. That was a complete surprise. All the other parks, I mean, we've heard rumors, there's stuff that were kind of brewing for a couple of years. This was, we were like, what is this? And I will tell you, Sophie, though, before we get into the details, but when they started talking about the whole ride, the whole land, I was like, oh, where's this gonna be? Tokyo? Whatever. And then they announced that they was going to be in Hollywood Studios, where my eyes just popped open.
Yes. I think it was such a well-kept surprise because, like you say, it's hard to not have any kind of details out there.
Yeah.
And the fact that the ride is going to be based on the moving doors, I'm like, this.
Oh.
Yeah, rumor was that ride concept has been around for a while, but they've never fully gone for it, and it's great to see. And the mock-up that they had at D23 that kind of showed it looks like the door room.
Yep.
I think it's going to be amazing to ride because it really looks like that that iconic door room scene where you've got Mike and Sully just flying on a door trying to get somewhere. So I think you're gonna feel like you're in the factory. It's gonna be great.
They have the facade of the monstrosity, whatever,
Monstropolis factory.
Monstropolis factory. And then behind it, you know, we got to see that there's a model, a mock-up of it. And it really is. It's like a coaster with, and then stuff hanging down and it goes around.
And we get our first hanging thrill ride.
Yeah.
Yes! I'm so excited for that.
Where do we think that's going to be at? Do we think it's the Pixar place? They're going to knock that out?
I think it's going to go where Launch Bay is. I think Animation Courtyard is going to go. Because at the moment, again, that's not really being utilised. I know a lot of people have been very worried that it's going to be where Muppets is. Although I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I'd heard from a cast member on TikTok that there had been talks when they were going to make Galaxy's Edge of getting rid of the Muppets then. Because that would make sense because you could have connected Star Tours to Galaxy's Edge.
Okay.
But they vetoed it because Muppets Vision 3D was the final thing Jim Henson worked on before he died. So they want to keep it a project. And I'm like, I think that makes perfect sense. Because if they were going to knock it down, I think Galaxy's Edge would have been the time. Whereas this, I think Animation Courtyard, like, yes, you can meet some Star Wars characters or Disney Junior characters, but you can move meet and greets anywhere.
There's nothing.
But this kind of ties back to what you were talking about in Magic Kingdom, where by putting Villains Land over by Frontierland, you can get kind of spread out in the park. And I think if you put Monstropolis over by where Muppets was, you're just going to crowd that side of the park up.
You're 100% correct.
I think Launch Bay, I agree with you. If it was up to me, Launch Bay.
Listening.
Launch Bay, that area is the perfect place to do it. You have a nice already facade there that could kind of be like a gateway into a city. So you could kind of like redo that whole part. And then it gets, actually, I think they're going to have to open that up though, because that's a pretty narrow opening. Sorry, digress. That's an area of the park that's not utilized. It gets a bunch of people over there. So now you got people going back to Galaxy's Edge. You got people going to Toy Story Land. You got people going that way. So now it spreads out the crowds in the park a bit more.
I think that's one of the issues that I have with Hollywood Studios is because everything is so scrunched up in one area. Whereas every other park, you feel like there's space, you can spread out. Yes, it's crowded, but at least there's pockets where you don't have everybody at the same place. But Hollywood Studios, I've always felt that it is very concentrated. So to be able to kind of spread people out with crowd control and disbursement, I think that's really, really important. But the thing is, I know the Little Mermaid show, rumor is that is coming back. Do you think that's going to impact the theming of the new lands,
That's so interesting, isn't it? Because like you say, everything else in that part of the area would Pixar. So I wonder if that would eventually be changed to something that is Pixar. But like you say, the fact that they're currently working on it, it's interesting because it's like seemingly that is staying. Because otherwise you would have just kept it closed, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm like. If you're kind of knocking out that area, that now show space just may not make sense, but who knows? I mean, they can always just change things around. They can move that to the Mickey shorts, even though I don't know, I love the Mickey shorts, but Disney,
don't touch my Mickey shorts. Don't touch my Mickey shorts.
Yeah, exactly. But I think as well that land is going to be so much fun. There's so much they can do with it.
Oh, would you think that they would put it closer to Toy Story Land? Because that is like conceptually that would make more sense because it's in that, or maybe not.
Oh, you're saying over there by Launch Bay.
Versus where Toy Story Land is currently at, because it's all, to your point, Sophie, that is all Pixar. That's true. It would make sense to be in this.
But I think the theming of the land
will be different.
You want that Monstropolis vibe, and I think anything where you're kind of butting. Just because they're Pixar IPs, if you're butting one up against the other, I don't think that's. I like the idea of Launch Bay. That's where they're going to put it. I'm putting it out in the universe.
Yes,
that's where we want it.
Exactly, we're going to manifest it.
Please leave the Muppets alone. Please do not touch the Muppets. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, because I love the Muppets. Like, I will never get bored of that. And again, whenever we go, there's always quite a big audience. It's like the auditorium's empty, so it obviously still has a lot of footfall.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where I think they're struggling to kind of figure out what they want to do in Muppets Land for the Muppets.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a ton of interest in the Muppets, and they just gave Frank Oz, right? They gave him the
Legends.
Disney Legends Award.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was instrumental in the Muppets, and so I think they're just trying to figure out what to do with that area.
Yeah, because like you said, I think they could do so much more because you've got like Pizza Rizzo, the shop's gone, like they haven't got much there. But I think if they went, do you know what, let's go full out, we could do some amazing things with the Muppets there.
Oh, I agree. I like it. There's definitely Muppets. I love the Muppets. I grew up watching them, obviously. So to me, it's that's every once in a while I kind of go over there because I know I've seen the show. I know it goes on, but I still sit down and watch it all the time. It's great.
Yes.
I think it just needs a little bit of a refresh, which I kind of understand. Like you said, it's the last thing Jim Henson worked on, so they may be hesitant to refresh anything. They've probably been trying to keep it just for that reason.
So Sophie, in terms of Monstropolis, is that the ride is pretty much it, right? There's not too many things that are around it.
They haven't announced anything because, like you say, they're going to bring because again, Hollywood Studios could do with some more dining. So if they want to throw in a quick service location there, I wouldn't be mad. But they haven't announced anything, so I don't really know. But I'm hoping we're going to get some meet and greets because, like, you can meet Mike and Sully sometimes, but I'm like, if we could meet Roz or someone like this,
I would love to meet her.
That Roz might be in Villain's Land.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It'd be amazing. But yeah, I think there's going to be so much they can do with it. And that's what I think is really exciting. It's almost like we've got a taster, but I'm sure there's going to be other things they're going to announce.
I think I'm looking forward to what I think they knew they wanted to do the ride. They knew they wanted to do the land. And I think they probably haven't figured out everything they want to do yet. But I think I'm looking forward to hopefully they'll do some fun, creative food stuff there. Because you're going into a monsters land. There's got to be
monstrous food.
There's got to be monstrous food, right? So hopefully they'll have some fun. You've seen, especially when they do the holiday themed parties or Mickey's Not So Scary, they definitely kind of go heavy into the food theming, and hopefully they'll kind of do something like that over there.
That would be epic. That would be so good. Yeah, I'm just so excited for this, and the fact that it was a big, nice surprise.
That was a surprise.
Yeah, that was exactly. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Anything else over there at DHS?
I think that is the only. Oh no, the only other thing they mentioned was that there's going to be a Mandalorian and Grogu storyline coming to Smuggler's Run to tie in with the release of the.
Oh
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes,
I'm glad you brought that up.
Because in my mind, I tie that to the entertainment experience. But you're right; it's going to be a complete reskin of that ride.
Well, and I think I think this is actually a really clever adaptation of a ride vehicle that's already there. And because it's simulator based, just like Star Tours, they can change it.
Yeah.
So you can ride Star Tours 5 times in a row. We've done it, and you get a different ride every time.
Though. I don't think my system can handle.
I'm hoping that they run with this a little bit, and you do different. Like you go to the Millennium Falcon, you don't know what mission you and Chewie might be going on, right? So that will be. I think that's just like you do Guardians of the Galaxy and other rides that change a little bit based upon the music. Now they can actually change the actual ride, simulation.
It's so cool. I think it's going to be amazing. And that's the thing, like the Mandalorian and Grogu are so popular.
Oh my gosh. When the new movie coming out?
Yes, exactly. And I know some people are like, oh, but Galaxy's Edge was always a bit controversial because they were like, it's kind of like based on the new films and it's like a new storyline that Disney have created. And now we've kind of like thrown the storyline out the window and people are like, well, stick to the storyline or don't. But I think they're so popular that I'm like, I don't care about the storyline. I want to see Grogu.
Just give me more Star Wars.
Yeah,
I'm fine with
that. Exactly that. 100%. And yeah, I think that's gonna be amazing because I think it's what everyone wants. Like the fact that they've started doing the meet and greet where they're walking around.
Yes.
And now you're gonna be able to go on the ride. It's gonna be amazing. Yes, I think that's it for Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
Can't think of anything else.
The last thing is Epcot, which we don't have lots of updates, but we know Test Track now is going to reopen next year. So that will be interesting. And then we're getting the new Spaceship Earth Lounge.
Oh,
That's the one I thought it was going to be DVC Lounge.
Yes.
But before we go there, Sophie, what do you think about Test Track 3.0?
I think it's going to be interesting that it's supposedly a bit more like the original Test Track, and I think people will like that.
Yep. That's what
Yes.
I'm hoping. There's at least some nod to the old
Yep.
crash test dummies a little bit, but I
Yeah.
understand. I think do they want to try and do it more like an energy type pavilion?
Yes, because I think I was reading that it's kind of like all about how we're using technology in our modern lives, but the adaptations of that and how, we're trying to be more environmentally conscious. So I think that'll be an interesting kind of storyline.
I think that'll fit in perfectly with Epcot. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. And especially now that Epcot's kind of been rethemed as well, I think it fits in really well with the new lands.
And
the ride vehicle looks different, right? Because based
Yes.
on the concept art a little bit.
Yes, and I'm wondering if they're kind of, because I'm sure I read something, they were talking about like how we're having like electric vehicles and stuff like that, and I wonder if they're trying to incorporate that.
That was kind of one of my hopes, is that they were going to update the drivetrain to be like an electric type drivetrain, and then I'm also hoping we go a little bit faster than 65.
That'd be amazing.
If we go 88 miles per hour, nod to that'd be fantastic.
I'm hoping that Test Track eventually will be like a maglev system where frictionless, you just go. You just go.
That'd be so perfect.
Forget wheels, forget tracks.
Exactly.
Just go.
That'd be so good. And it's such a like beloved attraction that I think it's great that they're kind of like updating it so it's more modern.
Yes.
And it just totally makes sense. And like you say, it's the perfect fit for Epcot.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the Spaceship Lounge, I thought, okay, Mike kept on correcting me that I originally thought it was going to be a DVC lounge. Is that not true anymore?
No, I haven't heard anything about that. Like I've just heard there's going to be a lounge, so I don't know. Because like you say, I think it's currently a DVC lounge, right? So you'd imagine it would be the same, but they haven't mentioned that so far.
Yeah.
The fact that they mentioned it at the big event makes me think it's not going to be a DVC lounge. I feel like they would announce something like that at a DVC member event, something like that.
That's
to make
so
that
true.
Because it basically, you would be going to a bunch of Disney fans that aren't DVC members and be like, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's so true. If you want to sign up for DVC just to go in the lounge, you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Good place, good upsale opportunity, marketing opportunity for DVC for sure. But according to the concept art that we saw, it's beautiful. Like you just kind of. Are you inside Spaceship Earth? Is that how they're thinking about it?
That's the thing. I'm like, what does it look? Because like you say, it looks very stunning, and it's kind of got corporations. But I'm like, is it inside? Or what's happening? I think it'll be great. And I think what's great is Epcot is so iconic for the food and drink there.
Yes.
And I think they've seen how successful like Space 220 lounge is. So to have another lounge, but like based on like an iconic ride, I think will be great.
They're not taking out Spaceship Earth, right? That's staying intact.
Yeah,
I don't think Spaceship Earth's ever going to go anywhere.
No, exactly. Can you imagine? And I know like a few years ago, of course, they were meant to shut it down to do a massive renovation. And then the pandemic happened, and that's kind of not heard about that ever since. So I don't know if that will come in the future. Although I love Spaceship Earth. I absolutely love it. So I know that they might modernize it, but I'm like, if they keep it like that, I don't mind. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and if you want to try something new on Spaceship Earth, try listening to the soundtrack in different languages.
That's so true. It's like a learning experience.
Last time we had it play in Japanese. It gives you like a totally different vibe.
Yes. So, I love that. This is what we all need to be doing, and then we're going to come off. We won't be fluent in a language, but we'll know the Spaceship Earth script.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, the Phoenicians they're being thanked in Japanese as well. So
yeah, exactly,
it is definitely there.
It's perfect. But yeah, like you say, it's interesting, isn't it? Because Epcot have had so much work done that it's kind of nice that these two things aren't gonna. It's not gonna be like Walcott again. So you're like, no, we can cope.
Yes, it is. It is way more open and a lot less walking without all the walls around it. You can go to places that are way more directly now. So that's my legs are also thanking me.
Just exactly that. Exactly that. So yeah, but I think both of those are coming next year as well, which is great. So even more things coming to Epcot.
Yes.
I think I need to get like a big chart with timelines that show the parks and what's happening.
Like, this is what's happening.
So,
It's so true. Because that's the thing. My first thought was, oh my gosh, how am I going to plan trips now? Because you're going to have to plan them around like what's going to be open, what's going to be
The
closed,
constructions,
with
yes.
something new coming. So
Oh,
that's
more trips to Disney World then, Sophie.
exactly. It's so true. And well, I think that's it for Disney World. So shall we hop over to Disneyland now?
Let's do that. Oh,
And
good
again,
stuff is coming to Disneyland.
oh my God, amazing announcements again.
So do we want to take DCA, Disney California Adventure, to start?
Let's do it. Let's do it because
All
there's
right,
so
all
much
right.
coming.
Yes. Avengers Campus. Let's go there first.
Incredible.
Wow.
Doubling in
I was
size.
blown away.
Unbelievable.
So, I mean, the fact that they're doubling the size of Ventures Campus in DCA, that is absolutely huge. I mean, we always knew really that they were going to have kind of like a Thanos themed ride that's going to be like back the Avengers headquarters, but the new like the flight school or whatever, I can't remember the name of it, but that one looks so interesting.
Yes, I think that's going to be what it looks. It's giving Forbidden Journey to me, and I can't go on that ride, so I'm hoping it's not as violent.
so this is where I think it's going to be better. If you go on the Forbidden Journey, they've got 4 across. So if you're on the edge, because I've ridden it multiple times, if I'm in one of the middle 2 seats, it's okay. The edges get a little bit more
Interesting.
disjointed. These are only 2, so
Yeah.
they're closer to like the center of axis of the robotic arm. So I
That's such a good
think
point.
it's going to be, I wouldn't count this one out if Forbidden Journey kind of makes you a little, I wouldn't count this one out. I
Yeah.
think this one's going to
Such a good
be
point.
much more less
Motion sickness
inducing.
Yeah. I
Yes.
think you do like Sophie and Mike. I know that motion sickness is one of the major concerns, and
Yes.
especially for some of our audience out there. But yeah, Forbidden Journey, that's the first thing that came to mind. We're like, oh, is this going to be like that? And I think Mike's point that it's closer to the center of axis, so
Yeah.
it might be a
100%.
little bit better.
And the
And I
thing
don't-
that's also good to remember is that from when Forbidden Journey was built to now, the technology
Yes.
was advanced as well.
It's probably going to be a smoother experience.
Yes.
So that's less jostling, so maybe less, motion sickness inducing type of movements.
Yeah.
But again, this is something they're doing for this ride where it sounds like you're going to have different Avengers take you through the flight training, and like the ride is going to change based on who your, I guess, coach or trainer is.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I
that's
imagine
so cool.
I imagine if Hulk is giving you a flying
Yeah,
lesson,
like
it's
Hulk.
going to be a little bit more direct and straightforward than maybe if
Like Black Widow, it's probably like more finesse, more flexibility, that
Yes.
type of stuff.
or Sam's teaching you.
Yeah,
Sam's
lots
a
of
natural flyer.
credibility.
Yeah.
But based on the concept art, one thing I am a little concerned about that ride, aside from the motion sickness issue, is the load capacity seems to be probably a bit of a problem, because
That's so
you only
true.
have 2-seater, and then I don't I mean, I guess it is an omni moving ride.
It's kind of like an omni moving ride. So I think even though each ride vehicle is small, the throughput, I bet, is still going to be pretty good.
That's up for debate. Yeah, that when I
Yeah,
saw the
that's such a
concept
good
art, because I
point.
think it's like a factory, and then the arms will like pick you up and it'll do certain things. So there's going to be a linear side of it, and then there's also like the picking you up and swinging.
I
you
mean,
around side of
Forbidden
it.
Journey has a really good ride capacity. So I
Well,
don't
that's
know.
got 4 across. So
They'll figure it out. They're smart. They'll figure it out.
It's so
No
true.
worries.
Yeah.
We
Even
have
if
trust in you.
they have to do the thing where they basically do 2 mirrored versions of the
Oh, yeah.
ride,
Right,
just like the Millennium
exactly.
Falcon, they could do that.
Yeah.
So-
But the
Yes.
rewritability for that ride, if that's what they're gonna do, is gonna be really, really fascinating. Just like Cosmic Rewind, like the song
Yes.
makes your ride a different experience every
100%.
time.
And particularly if you've got like favorite Avengers and you're like, this is the person I want to see, you're going to want to go on it until you've got that experience.
Money.
I
You gotta
hate-
catch them all,
I
right?
chased the songs on Guardians of the Galaxy, so I am probably going to be one of those people that
I
has to
love
get
that.
each
Yeah,
person.
exactly. You've got to catch them all. It'll be
So
so
then
good.
so then the Thanos ride, that one, they haven't really said much about it, but I
No,
seems
I
like
don't know
that's kind of
anything
like
about this one. I know
No.
there's a second ride, but I literally know nothing.
It seems like it's a ride vehicle that'll take you through portals where you get to kind of do like a jump through different universes and then eventually get to fight Thanos or King Thanos. But
Amazing.
I saw the ride vehicle model at D23 in the Imagineering lounge or booth. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Spider Web Slingers. It's kind of similar.
Interesting. Oh, that
Yeah.
would be really interesting.
It could be similar to the one at Universal, the Megatron ride, the
Yes.
Transformers,
Yep.
potentially.
I'm,
That's kind of rumor has it.
I'm kind of thinking it might be more like the Millennium Falcon
Oh, okay.
technology,
That could be true.
where I think you
Yes.
might go into a more simulator-based ride because then
Oh, okay.
the ride itself
ride.
just takes up space for the actual simulator areas, but it's not because I'm just trying to think
yeah,
of the
spaces.
I'm trying to think of
Yeah.
the footprint that they have back there. So we'll see.
Yes.
The thing that I'm also really looking forward to is the actual evolution of Avengers Campus
Yes.
theming of like what the vibe in that area feels like. Because right now it's very much like a recruitment space.
Yep.
And they're going to shift it more into an active Avengers campus going on missions and training
Yes.
and not just recruiting. So I think when you go to Avengers Campus in the future, it's not just going to be like, you know, a campus where you're meeting different people. I think it's going to feel more active, which I
It's
think
gonna
is going to
make
be
you
great.
feel more like an Avenger.
Yeah.
When you're like
Or that you're-
taking and saving of the world.
Or that you're actually going to be there, you know, the Avengers are going to be doing the Avenger stuff and you're
Yeah.
you're kind of on base while they're doing stuff. So I think that's going to be great.
I think that's going to be so cool because, like you said, there's so much they can do with it, and it's already super fun. But this is going to be like next level. They're just
Yes.
like just gonna make it on steroids. It's amazing.
Again, no timeline, right, Sophie?
Yes, no timeline. So again, like, oh, it could be anything, couldn't it? Because especially because there's so much work going to be happening in DCA. I wonder if they'll phase them.
Possibly. I think so. I think it's going to be on the area that's kind of between the Avengers Campus and Cars Land. There's room
Right.
there where they have some stuff that I think they're going to go out that way.
Perfect.
And it is an area where they can kind of work back there without really impacting
Yep.
what's going on in the
That's
park.
true.
So I think that
Yes.
that's actually something they can kind of start on at any point and get going. Because I think most of that stuff's going to be behind a wall that people can't
Yeah,
get access
yeah.
to right now to
Yeah,
begin
that's such a
with.
good
That's true.
point. Yes, yeah, and I think the same with like we'll get onto them, but probably the other new things coming will be the same. Like it's not going to be like in Disney World where things are going to be shut down to be
Yeah.
rethemed. So I
Yeah.
think in California it's going to work out actually really, really well because it's just going to be expansions, but not a massive disruption to your trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
maybe we leave Avengers Campus and go to Coco.
Yes, I am so excited for this. Like, I love Coco, and it's just going to be so vibrant, so fun. And I know people have been wanting something like this, so I'm so excited because I know loads of people were like, "Oh, maybe Grand Fiesta Tour will be rethemed," and I was like, "Don't touch that because I love that." But I
Don't
love
touch
Coco.
it. No.
Yeah,
That is my
exactly.
air-conditioned slow ride in Epcot.
100%. But I love that Disney have gone, "Oh no, we're going to give you something better. We're going to give you a whole ride that's themed specifically about this."
And that makes sense because every once in a while, I mean, not every once in a while, every year they bring the Los Dios de los
Yes.
Muertos during the Halloween season, and then Coco is pretty prominently displayed in Disneyland as well as
Yep.
DCA, and then that whole festival area back by Paradise Garden, they turn that into the whole, like the Familia area for
Yes.
Coco. So I think to me that totally makes sense that Coco is coming to DCA.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen the Coco puppet show,
Oh.
it's so good. So good.
Oh my God.
So I'm very
I've
excited.
seen a video of it, but I need to see it in person because it looks amazing.
Well, two people that live in California will
Yes,
happily meet
exactly.
you in DCA anytime.
That would be epic.
So what do you think the Coco Land is going to be then? Is it going to be in that Paradise Garden area?
That's what I was going to ask you because it's not a whole land, it's just a
No.
ride. So it'll be interesting to see where they are going to put it.
I think when I heard the rumor, I heard that it was going back in that corner.
Don't touch Goofy Flight School.
They're not going to touch the Goofy Flight School. The nice part about Goofy Flight School is it is like one big intact ride that can be moved. It's so they could maybe move that a little bit to create some space, but I'm sure they're keeping Goofy Flight School.
Yeah. That makes
That's a boat ride, right?
Yes, which looks amazing. Like, I love boat rides because that's something I think Disney do really well. Is they kind of in your day you get like a rhythm because you could go on a
Yes.
thrill ride, then you could go on a boat ride that calms things down. And I think it's really nice that they're going to have a boat ride because I'm like, to me, they're just so iconic. When you've got stuff like, although it's more thrilling, Pirates or it's a Small World. Disney have so many iconic boat rides, and I'm like, I think this is going to join them.
I think they do a really good job of making rides that everybody in the family
Yes.
of all different
Four
ages
quadrant.
can
Yeah.
go.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, do we think that's going to be more like a Navi River journey, Coco style?
Yeah, I'm wondering because I know they have said there's going to be like state-of-the-art animatronics, so we know
Yeah.
that,
Okay.
but everything else we have no clue. So I think it's going to be really interesting.
Well, I think we saw the new Frozen animatronics.
Yeah.
And if they keep with that animatronic for these new rides, I think that's going to be fantastic.
I mean, Tiana already is in Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've ridden the
Tiana,
Tiana. I haven't
yeah.
seen the Tiana ride yet.
Yes. Yeah, I can't wait to experience that. But like you say, I think this is the thing that it's so easy to forget. But by the time all of these lands are built, like we've already seen the technology advance so much in a short space of time. So when they come
Yeah.
out, they're going to be so incredible.
As long as we don't have blank faces like our Frozen ride in Epcot.
Yeah.
Yes, I think they've learned
Oh.
from that, and they're like, don't do that again.
I think that it works well with the dwarfs, in my opinion,
Yes.
and the Seven Dwarf Mine Train works well. There's just that little disconnect on between the face and the neck for the Frozen
And when it
ride.
doesn't work, when there's no face,
It's
Yes,
a great
exactly.
idea. It's
nightmare. If you...
I've not seen it when the
Oh
face
my gosh.
doesn't work.
I
But
love it.
So is that all for DCA? We
No,
got
well,
Venice.
actually, something I'm very excited about
Yeah.
that everyone else, I feel like people are sleeping on this, but obviously
I might have been
Avatar
sleeping.
Land is coming.
Sorry, which land?
Avatar is going to be coming over.
Oh my gosh, I
DCA.
thought that was going to be in Disneyland, but I guess DCA.
Yes, it's going to be
is-
DCA. But what I think is interesting is it's going to be a boat ride, and everyone has assumed it's going to be like Navi River Journey, and they're like,
Oh,
it's,
no.
it's pretty, but it's who cares? And I'm like, guys, from like the concept artwork and from the rumors, it's going to be more like Pirates of the Caribbean in Shanghai, which is
Yes.
something like this could be one of the best rides we see in any Disney
Ever.
park, and people are sleeping on it.
Yeah, we saw a mock-up of the Way of Water Land Avatar, and James Cameron actually was at D23, and then
Yes.
he, we'll get to that a little bit later in terms of the newer movies and such.
Yeah.
And his whole thing is that when they were talking about Avatar, it is definitely going to be very different from Pandora that is in Animal Kingdom, but they are, because James Cameron, I think, has a lot of the movie ideas for the future already mapped out.
Yeah.
That this land is going to be able to incorporate more of the future movies elements into it,
Perfect.
not
Looks
just
Way of Water
and beyond.
and Fire and Ash.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be epic. And like you say, it's so nice that although it's going to be similar because it's Avatar, it's going to still be distinctly its own.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that part because now it's going to feel like, again, how we were kind of talking about earlier, you're not just plugging and chugging, you're actually giving, a diversity of experiences and stuff. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I think I heard a similar rumor to you, and I agree that I think they're going to have like the ride vehicle from the Shanghai Pirates, so it's going to be more dynamic than just the lazy river. Navi Lazy River Journey.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, Pirates in Shanghai is like unreal. And I'm like, this could absolutely be that.
Have
I
you
think
been
it'd be
on it?
stunning.
Yeah.
No, like I've just watched a lot of videos. And like, I don't know if you've ever seen the episode of Behind the Attraction about pirates, and they kind of showed you the technology behind it, and I was like, this is unreal. So I'm like, if we're getting this, I can't wait.
I would expect them, if they've got a really good technology, I would expect them to kind of repurpose it.
Repurpose and update it according to the times. And I think
100%.
it makes sense to have another Avatar land in a different park, because if you think about it, Pandora is a huge planet, right? They had to
100%,
travel
yes.
from one location to another. So now in the movie, even that makes sense because
By air, they had to travel by
air to go to another part of the Pandora world. So you're kind of simulating that journey on Earth, where we have Pandora, the mountainous region, and now we have Pandora, the water region. And
Yeah.
so that to me just makes so much sense.
That's going to be great. And like you said, that actually like totally thematically makes sense.
Yes, yes, yes. And it's, by the ocean. I mean,
I don't think they were going that far with
kind of,
everything.
Yeah, I
the
love it.
ocean around it, but now we're really by the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, exactly that. They're like, if you can't get to the beach, we'll bring it to you.
We're just justifying it for you, Imagineers. In
Yeah.
our heads, our head canon is making sense for us.
Now that's going in the area where
where's
the
it going?
parking structure is, right? If I remember when
Right.
they had the zoning meetings for Anaheim, they were talking about I think the Mickey parking structure by downtown Disney. I think that's where
Perfect.
this is going, maybe.
Yes,
Don't
because
quote
like
me
you
on that.
say, like Anaheim is so interesting, isn't it? Because where it's right in the heart of a city, it is difficult to expand. But as you say, they have been having all of these plans about changing up that area and utilizing the car parking, because you can build car parks other places and then shuttle people in. So
Mhm.
that makes much more sense to kind of have the parks be more filled, and then just you park somewhere else. It's fine.
Yeah, it's easy to build a multi-story parking
That's true.
structure.
Yeah.
Because they still have a plenty of land around.
Yeah.
The Toy Story lot area is very large, and they
Perfect.
could always build extra parking there vertically if they
Yeah.
needed
Yeah.
to.
Instead of having
Yeah.
like just like flat land,
Yep,
they can
absolutely.
build up. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, Anaheim is you're right, Sophie. It's very interesting because when we're talking about Florida, land is never a concern because we know there's
No.
land. They can
Yes.
fill it however they want. But in
Yeah.
in Anaheim, it's like, what are they gonna do? Like push people out of their houses?
But one of
So
the things I
true.
appreciate about that is I think it forces them to get a
Yes.
little extra creative,
Yes.
So
right?
true.
So
Yes. Yeah, and like you say, the great thing is like we only benefit. Like the more they kind of have to be creative in their thinking, the more we kind of get these interesting lands and rides and expansions.
Well, and I'm hoping that this is going to continue between the various amusement parks.
Yes.
Right now, it seems like if you're a fan of amusement parks, this seems to be a good time
Yes,
because there's a
100%.
lot of competition going on and
Yeah.
everybody's pushing the envelope to
Yes.
really expand the guest experiences.
Yeah. When there's competition,
100%.
as guests, we win, right?
Yeah, no,
kinda
it's
like
so
if
true.
Universal Studios hadn't
Yes.
gone their route, I don't know if Disney
Yeah.
would have done this, to be honest with you.
100%. Yeah, I definitely think they wouldn't have done it on this time frame. I think
Yeah.
they would have been like, oh, we'll get round to it. But I think they're
Blue
like, oh
sky,
no,
blue
we need
sky.
to, yeah, exactly. We need to step it up. And like you say, the thing's going to be great. It's like next year, Epic Universe opens. For a few years, that will be busy. And then when that starts to calm down, Disney will then open like maybe Esperanza or whatever it is. And then, Disney will be busy. So I think it's going to be great.
So we were in DCA.
Yeah,
Avatar Land
Disneyland.
is. So is it just the one water ride? And it can't be just that one water ride. Was there more rides that they
They
announced?
haven't announced anything. So,
No.
but like
Okay.
you say, it's such a big land. You're like, are they going to have something else?
So do you think Joe Brody's going to be
The chief
involved
architect.
involved
I
in the new Avatar
would
Land?
burst. I am obsessed with Joe Rody. So I'm like,
I'm obsessed with his earrings,
incredible.
but yes,
Yeah.
him as well.
Yes, and like you say, the fact that like Pandora was his baby, and like he did retire, but he could come
He's
back.
back.
Exactly.
mean-
So
Honestly, he left for a cool gig to go do
yep,
space experiences, and now he's back down to Earth, and we're gonna do, hopefully,
exactly.
I really hope he's involved
Oh, I'm
because
sure he
Yes.
is.
Pandora is, all of Animal
Yeah.
Kingdom is amazing.
It's so stunning. It's so like you say, out of all of the like Disney World parks, it's just the most stunning.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Amazing. So yeah, if he's involved, I will be
All right,
so
fingers
excited.
crossed that
Yes, exactly. We're
we're
bringing him
hoping
back.
exactly.
It would be so
Yeah,
good.
just like we said earlier, we're putting that out into the universe, so that will
Exactly.
happen. There we go.
Exactly. It's happening. It's perfect. Well, shall we
So
hop into
Disneyland?
Disneyland?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sophie, tell us about Disneyland.
I am going to cry. I know it. It's happening. I'll cry thinking about it. The Walt Disney animatronic.
So controversy is already brewing with
Yes.
that one from the Disney family, actually.
Yes. Interesting.
Yes,
Oh, no.
yes. The I think the heiress, I want to say her name is Abigail. Abigail Disney supposedly is extremely disturbed and unhappy about the situation. So,
Interesting.
but But I am. Oh,
Yeah.
can just being in Walt's office, being able to hear him, see him.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
Wow.
it's a great.
if you
Sorry.
think back to his original purpose for the animatronics,
Yes.
Yes.
why he wanted to create them so people could see, Lincoln and the
Yeah.
presidents and do that.
Yes.
I don't necessarily think it like again, they're not going
They're not gonna mess this
this
one
is
up.
not
No.
going to be done poorly. This will be
100%.
done perfectly because if it's not ready, they're not going to be like, well, it's kind of no. They're
Yeah.
gonna wait, they're gonna get this right on the first try.
Yeah.
And unless it's actually truly like Disney history, and then
Yeah.
they'll have to fix it. But that's
Yeah.
another. So I think I'm looking forward to it. I think they're going to do it well. I don't think they're going to do anything that would kind of
Yeah.
make Walt
Not happy.
not happy.
100%. Because that's the thing, like you say, like Walt Disney was kind of a pioneer in animatronics, but also
Yes.
like you say, he wanted to pay tribute to people he admired. So it feels really fitting to have this of him
Yes.
in his park.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think so. This is the other side of the family kind of controversy, whereas I believe Roy E. Disney
Yep.
has a very uncanny resemblance to his great uncle, I guess, or uncle
Interesting.
or Walt, right?
Yep.
And I think he might have been able to see a first sort of modeling of
Yep.
of the animatronic, and he apparently he's very happy. He's like, wow, this is my uncle
Right.
coming back to life. So.
Yeah,
We'll see. We'll
that's
see.
gonna be iconic. I'm just so excited for it. I'm like you say, I think they're gonna put so much attention and effort into this that it's gonna be amazing.
I mean, Carousel of Progress, speaking of carousels, that one makes me cry every time. So now it's a Walt animatronic talking to me. Oh,
Well,
Yeah,
waterworks.
I'm hoping they do his office.
I
Like,
think that's the idea.
if
I think that
you
is the idea.
yeah, if you go into Walt's office and Walt is there and
Yeah.
he's telling you about whatever Walt wants to talk to me about, I'm
Yes.
all ears.
Yeah,
So I'm very looking
exactly.
forward to that.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be so epic. And like you say, like going to Disneyland, you really do feel Walt's presence, which I
Yes.
think is one of the reasons it's such a special park. So I think this is just like the cherry on top.
Can't wait. And
Can't wait.
still no timeline. No timeline.
Yes,
Every
That's
single
okay.
one.
Take your
we
time
know
on
that
this
it's
one.
coming next year for the 70th
Oh, really?
anniversary, but I don't know if it'll be like ready when they start the 70th anniversary, or if it'll just be sometime during it.
That would be great if
Probably the
yeah.
latter. But
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I'm sure they'll probably push to try and have it
Yeah.
for the anniversary, but I wouldn't
Yes.
be surprised if it gets.
Where is it though in the park? Do we know?
Going to be where Abraham Lincoln is currently. So they said that what they want to do
Oh.
is for the 70th anniversary, it will switch to Walt, and then in the future, it will rotate between the two.
Yeah.
They can
Which
do
is
that?
really interesting. But yeah, I was like, I'm surprised when they said that, but I'm like, you do it. You go do that, Disney. It makes sense because, like, again, it's one of those attractions that I'd never seen it, and this trip I went and saw it, and I think there was like 5 people watching it. But because it's such a Walt attraction, I
Yes.
feel like they want to keep it for the heritage.
Yes.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that's one of the things that they really protect in Disneyland
In
itself,
particular,
the
yeah.
Disneyland.
Yeah.
Yep.
So not DCA, but Disneyland there is a lot of stuff that they protect for the legacy purpose because that's
Mr. Toad's.
Yeah, Mr. Toad's
Yes.
Wild
Do
Ride.
not touch Mr. Toad's.
Yes.
A lot of that stuff because that was all, I mean, that was Walt's,
Yeah.
right? That's where he was, that's where he worked, that's where he slept.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess this one isn't necessarily new per se, but they did they did kind of talk about the fact that people are very excited that Tiana's Bayou Adventure is finally going to be opening in
Yes.
Disneyland, replacing Splash
exciting.
Mountain.
Yes, and I love that we're renaming Critter Country to Bayou Country, which makes sense. Totally fits in.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I think now that, in my opinion, the Bayou Venture in Disneyland from a land theming perspective actually makes more
way more
sense in
sense.
Disneyland
Yes.
because we already have New Orleans Square.
100%.
That's huge from a Disney history perspective. I mean, we know that Walt was a huge fan of New Orleans. when that land opened, they invited the mayor. I mean, they had a huge thing going on there, and that whole French Quarter area back there.
Yep.
So that kind of, and with the new Tiana's Palace at the restaurant, that
Yep.
just ties up that whole area so nicely with Haunted Mansion. That is more of a New Orleans themed. Yeah.
Yeah, like you say, I think it absolutely makes sense, much more sense than Disney World, and it's just perfect. Like it's funny that I don't think they had that in mind when they were making Princess and the Frog, but it couldn't have been more perfect fit.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then I think they're re-theming one of the, is it not the Country Bear, but the restaurant? They're kind of like more introducing more of the Bayou Cajun cuisine coming into that restaurant. So I can't wait. I can't wait.
So good. But yeah, and I just think it's so amazing to have all these new updates, and like they kind of also showed us a little logo for the 70th anniversary, which is so exciting that that's next year. Like it's amazing to think it's 70 years that Disneyland's been open.
Do you think they're going to be celebrating it for 3 years, just like 50th?
I hope. Can you imagine? They're like, well, we'll celebrate it until it's the 75th anniversary. But it is funny.
I think that was a special set of circumstances that we'll leave off the table as to why that one ran long.
Yes, exactly.
I would expect it to, I would be shocked if they ran it only for the year. I'm sure it'll run a little long, but no, I'm looking forward to it. Anytime they throw an anniversary, it's always fun to kind of go see them really hype up some of the history.
Yes. Yeah, I always love it. Like you say, when they like Disneyland Paris recently had their 30th anniversary celebrations, and they were so good. So it just gives like another little edge to the parks because you've got this extra thing to go and celebrate.
They do a good job of kind of bringing out like special event, shows and parades and characters.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I really like whenever they do an event like this.
Yes, so it's perfect. But yeah, lots coming up. I'm blown away because again, I think a lot of the stuff that's happening in Disneyland DCA we have no idea about.
Nope.
Yeah. All hey, shovels in the ground. That's all.
Nope. We just know it's no blue sky. So things are, and we're doing this. Everything is in development. So that's very intentional. They opened that with. We're like, okay. So that is it.
I think that's it for Disneyland Resort, which is very exciting. So shall we head over to Disneyland Paris?
You tell us. Talk about it.
Talk about your backyard.
Tell us, Sophie.
Oh, it's very exciting. So we had heard that we were going to get a Lion King land, and it is confirmed. We actually talked about it in our.
We did, yeah. You were saying, I was like, well, I hadn't heard about that, but now it's confirmed.
I love that it looks stunning. They've said the ride itself is going to be a water ride, which is going to be very interesting.
It's going to be like Splash Mountain.
It looks very similar, and I'm wondering if it'll be the exact same ride, but obviously different theming, or if they will create something completely new. But it's interesting because Disneyland Paris have always shied away from outdoor water rides because in the winter, like I visit in January quite often, and sometimes it's -5. It's freezing. So obviously you do not want to be getting wet. So I'm assuming that they're building it with that in mind. Maybe they'll turn the water effects down. But they've also said that
how do you do Splash Mountain without the water? I'm just trying to.
Well, I'm like they could splash outwards, but just not on me.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm hoping they're gonna do. And like in the summer, it's really, really hot. So then switch it the other way, splash me. That would be epic.
You get 2 rides.
Exactly.
Taking notes right now. Sophie's giving them great ideas.
It would be so good. And they have said that the ride is going to be based on the animated film, not the live action version.
Photorealistic. Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, and I think people were kind of happy about that because they were worried, like, oh, is it going to be the new Lion King? Because then live action films are kind of hit or miss whether people like them or not. So I love that we're going to go for the classic that everyone knows.
Yeah.
And also said that there's going to be character meet and greets, dining, and shops. So again, I'm excited to see what characters we're going to be getting. Like, of course, at the moment you could kind of meet Timon, people like that, but who are we going to meet? I think it'll be great.
We saw a mock-up of the land, actually. It looked huge. I mean, it's not just like a ride, just, like Avatar or whatever, but it's truly a new land.
A new land. Yeah. A big, expansive area.
It's going to be amazing.
Is there room in, I mean, Paris probably has the same situation as Anaheim. It's like, where is the space?
Well, interesting, because Disneyland Paris is it's maybe like 45 minutes by train outside of Paris.
Okay.
so it's not really Paris, but like they do like everywhere around. Like if you stay in off-site hotels, typically they're like in the countryside, they're really pretty. So Disney does have quite a lot of land that they could expand into. And I know when they kind of before D23 started and they had the model of Disneyland Paris out, they had like this big green part, and everyone was like, oh, they're definitely going to announce that like land. We didn't know it was going to be at the time, but because they were like, they don't add green bits on the map unless they're
okay, so they kind of throw out a little bit of hint ahead of time.
Yes, exactly. So then people were very excited about that. So I just think it's going to be really stunning, and I'm also glad it's going to be a unique land that's for Disneyland Paris. So I think that'll be a great draw for people to visit.
And then, you said that Disneyland Paris tends to be a smaller park, right? That's what I've heard from most people.
Yes. No, they're definitely much, much smaller than the US parks. It's kind of nice because it's very easy to walk around. Both the parks are next to each other, kind of like in Disneyland. So you can just park hop. But currently Walt Disney Studios Park is tiny, tiny, tiny. It's like a half-day park. But with this and with Frozen coming, I think that's definitely going to, up the ante. And it's actually interesting because now that it used to be kind of like Hollywood Studios, the sense of when it was built, it was supposed to be like a movie making theme.
Yeah.
Over the years, it's moved away from that. So the whole park is being rethemed to Disney Adventure World.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Which gets a little confusing, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I think they're like, let's get away from the movie making because there's really nothing movie making there anymore. Apart from when you very first walked in, you walked through like a studio and there was like some restaurants. They are kind of keeping that, which I think is interesting because they're moving away from movie making, but they're keeping movie making there. And the thing people are worried about is the only thing that's keeping Tower of Terror Hollywood themed is that kind of old Hollywood vibe in that studio. But they have announced they are keeping that theme.
Okay.
Hopefully, because the Tower of Terror is actually directly next to Avengers Campus. So people were always like, are they going to change it to Guardians?
Okay. I can see why people would be wondering about that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, if they're retheming it to Disney Adventure World, I was like, oh, of course they're going to retheme it. But now that they are keeping this old Hollywood kind of entranceway, maybe they will keep it as
well, I think the Tower of Terror at the Paris one, that one's unique, right? It's kind of got its own little story that's different from the other hotel.
Yes, and it's my favorite version of Tower of Terror. Like it's so well done. Like you say, the storyline's amazing. Like the drop sequences are amazing. It's also significantly longer a ride than like the Disney World version, which is good or bad depending on if you like the ride.
and yeah, that makes sense because I personally have recently learned that a lot of the earlier animation feature films, a lot of the artwork and stuff were actually done in Paris. So maybe so there was a studio in Paris that Disney actually did a lot of animation in. So I think that totally makes sense.
That's amazing. And yeah, the thing that's great as well is the fact that like 2026 is the big year for Disneyland Paris.
Yes.
That's when the name's being changed. It's also, we've now got confirmation that's when Frozen Land is going to open, which is interesting because people were expecting it to open next year, maybe towards the end of next year, but it's been pushed back. That park's been being built forever. Like people were actually joking that Tokyo started building at the same time. By the time ours is open, theirs has been open 3 years, and we're like, okay, brilliant.
So do you recommend if we were to plan a trip to Disneyland Paris that 2027 would be the best time?
Yeah, probably, just because. So next year, the studios part, there's going to be a lot of work going on.
Okay.
So, like the good thing, like the two new lands with Frozen and Lion King, they're kind of behind walls, so it's not kind of impacting you per se. But when they're retheming the whole park, there's a lot of walls up. The good news is all the rides are still open, apart from Aladdin. I don't know if that's going to be rethemed because it's a bit hodgepodge at the moment. Like I think they're really trying to retheme things because it was weird because it's like you've got Crush's Coaster next to Aladdin, next to a Cars ride, and it's like, what's going on here?
Movie sets. Well, just movie sets.
Yeah, exactly. But 2026 will be a big year because retheming. Also, we're getting a new nighttime show because this new part of the park has a huge lake, and it's going to be kind of like World of Colour, which looks amazing. But it's also going to have drones. They're like, we're taking it to the next level.
So drones, waterworks, fireworks, pyrotechnics, and wow.
It's gonna
Okay.
be amazing. I'm so excited. The only thing I'm worried about is currently they have an Avengers drone show, which
Okay.
is incredible. It's so good. But I'm wondering, will they do both of the shows? Because they would be quite close to each other.
Hmm.
And I don't think any Disney park does 2 shows in the same park at night. So I'm like, oh,
Does it actually? Because they have the fireworks and Fantasmic at the same time.
interesting. Well, maybe they could take a note
Maybe they could.
that.
Yeah, they
Yes,
might just stagger the
Yeah,
times
they
a
do.
little
They've
bit
got
so
staggered
that
them so you can watch both,
Yeah.
but they do. They have them concurrently running at the same time. You can see
that would
fireworks
be
from them.
amazing. So, well, hopefully they will do that because I really hope they keep Avengers. The power.
Well,
of
we'll have to
the
plan a
so
trip
good.
to Paris. Or maybe
it's on the list. It's
Yeah.
on the list.
Yeah.
We're
That-
checking. We're checking.
I am so excited about the new Lion King land for sure. And
I
then
can't wait. The only downside I would say about World of Frozen is
yes,
it's getting one ride and it's Frozen Ever After. So it's
so that's
not
going to be like
anything
Hong Kong
new.
copied.
Yes, because they said they're doing the animatronic version, which will be good. We won't have any blank faces.
I think we've learned.
I think Disney's like, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this again.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, never do that again. It's not happening. So I think that will be really good. And the other thing that's exciting is there's going to be a brand new fireworks show in Disneyland Park starting this January. So really soon, which is good. And they definitely needed that because for the past 10 years, they've bounced between the same 2 shows. And it was time. They needed to get a new one. The only thing I'm hoping, because I'm going in January, and I'm hoping I will get to see the new show, but I bet you they'll go, it'll start like the day after I leave or something. You know it's gonna happen.
Just plan. You know, maybe wait until they make an announcement and then plan your trip. That way.
Thing. We've already booked because I'm going for my actual birthday. So I'm like, if Disney wants to give me a personal birthday present, they could debut it that night.
It's gonna happen, Sophie.
Yes,
it's gonna, because you're most magical and it's gonna happen. We
It'd
have
be amazing. And the only thing that's interesting is that the winter season, like all the Christmas stuff, ends the 6th of January. And I'm going on the 7th. And I'm wondering if they will actually launch this new show, you know, new year, new season. Do they do the news from then? I'm hoping so.
Possible. It's possible. Yeah, I'm rooting for you.
Good. Yes, exactly. But that's all the news for Disneyland Paris. So we haven't got much news for the Shanghai and Hong Kong, but we do have a little bit of news.
Everybody gets a Spidey ride. That's
yes. Everybody gets a Spidey ride.
It's like the Oprah of Disney. You get Spider-Man ride. You get Spider-Man ride.
Cool, I guess.
Yes. I think it'll be really interesting because one of them, they've given like no details about whatsoever apart from the storyline of like it's Spider-Man and his foe and you're trapped in between. But the concept art looked a bit like a Tower of Terror type ride.
Oh.
So that could be quite interesting if you're like being pulled between the two. But
there was yeah, I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, web slingers?
Yeah, exactly.
No, they wouldn't do that one again. The other one looked more like a roller coaster type thrill ride. And in I guess the concept art that they showed, one of the things that was interesting is it looked like it had an off camber like roll to it where it was actually like twisting you outside, which seemed a little intense for a Disney thrill ride. I've seen those at other parks, but not at a Disney park.
I did hear, I don't know if it's rumors, but apparently that the local plans have said that there will be a reverse launch and a forwards launch. But that might be just vicious rumors, but that would be really cool.
That would be fun.
Wait, how do you reverse and forward launch?
So they use that magnetic drive system to shoot you backwards.
And then you go forward?
Which, if you're Spider-Man, right? So like you could you could shoot forward and you could grab you and pull you back, right? So
that would be really cool.
Dang.
So that might be part of the ride where maybe part of the concept of the ride will be like you're going along and Spidey's like pulling you,
like
you know,
around.
That would be really cool.
Slinging you around. That would be fun. That would be a fun ride.
And like you say, when you combine like the concept art and that rumor, this could be quite a thrilling ride for Disney.
I think so. Let's keep our fingers crossed on that.
Disney needs more thrill ride, in my opinion. So
yeah.
And then if it's really good, they could bring it
to Florida.
Exactly.
But they can't do Spidey.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They can
Sorry,
do
it's
Spidey.
gonna have to go. It's gonna have to go
DCA.
west of the Mississippi.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
DCA.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But yeah, I think that'll be very interesting to see how they turn out because we don't know anything about them. But I love that they went, we'll just give you the barest amount of information. But it's a
we know
surprise.
for the international, especially the Asian parks, because we don't, that's harder for us to get to. I feel like Paris probably is even easier, especially if we happen to be on the East Coast. So a lot of times when I hear chatters about the Asian parks, I'm just like, awesome. Great.
Yeah, no, it's true because unless you're planning a trip there, it kind of bypasses you. But like if you were going, then you're suddenly like, right now I need to know about these new rides.
Still no timelines. No timelines.
No timelines for that either. And of course, they also did mention that the Disney Cruise Line is going from 5 ships to 13 by 2031, which is a huge jump. I think it's interesting because they've put a lot of eggs in a basket, I feel like. They've invested obviously a huge amount of money into all these new ships.
Yes.
Which would be amazing. But we are seeing the cruise industry at the moment, because the ships are getting so big, there's certain ports now that are refusing to accept them. There's a lot of talk about the environmental damaging impact of cruises. So cruising is getting, on the one hand, it's never been more popular, but it's also kind of now getting this like, oh, do we need to rethink things? So I think it's interesting that they're putting a lot of money into this because it could backfire or it could be the making of them.
Yeah, I know with their new island where they put the Lookout Key, they actually made a concerted effort to build the pier out far enough so they wouldn't damage
people are absolutely hating
wouldn't damage the coral reefs. So I know it did, even their fireworks that they shoot off are degradable. So Disney does go a really long way to try and make it as eco-friendly as you can.
That is true.
I'm relatively new to cruising. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon, so I'm excited for these.
Like the bucket list is getting longer, right? Because we were before, it's like, oh yeah, the treasure is coming and the adventure is coming. Great, that's just two more we need to put on our list. Now it's like four more on top of those. What?
But it does kind of feel like you're right. There's this kind of quest to build these ever bigger, crazier ships.
Yeah.
And we went on the Wish recently. That was fun. But then we went on the Wonder later. I actually kind of like the Wonder. It's not as big and elaborate, but I still had a wonderful time. So maybe
we don't know what the size of the ships are.
Yeah.
Presumably they're going to be the bigger classes, but who knows?
Yeah, that's so true because they might mix it up, like you say, that they do have some smaller ships and bigger ships.
Yeah, maybe do like a river cruise even.
Yes, because they're becoming super popular, so that would be amazing. But obviously we know that they're also expanding. Like they're going to start sailing from Asia. They've got an Australian voyage. So I'm like, it's amazing. They're kind of going even further.
Well, and that's what I think part of this expansion is. They're not
global.
Exactly. So you're gonna. I think that one of them's even going to Japan. I think
Japan's next year.
So that'll be. I think I think the expansion is a lot more of serving different markets.
Yes.
Where there's probably some more capacity. Whereas out of Port Canaveral in Florida, it's quite busy.
Yes, that's true. It's so true. But yeah, it's exciting times. Like you say, the only people that are benefiting is us. So it's great.
I'm okay with that.
Yes, exactly. Well, and I think that is all the parks. And when I say that's it, obviously that's a huge amount of news. Unbelievable.
This parks panel was by far one of our favorites.
And it was rapid fire. I mean, it was just this new thing's coming, this new thing's coming, this new thing's coming. It wasn't like this is happening.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable.
And Josh Amaro was on stage the whole time. So successor to
this is the thing, isn't it? Because there's a lot of talk that he's in the running to be the next CEO. And like you say, this kind of, particularly with like him being like, this is happening, because someone had said, and I was like, this is true. They were like, it's all good and well saying this is happening, but if you get a new CEO comes in and says we financially can't do this, they cancel everything. But if it's him, he's going to do that.
It's gonna look like the villager scene from Beauty and the Beast.
Oh,
Cancel.
yeah. Oh man,
But
there will be pitchforks.
It's so true. It's so true. But like you said, I think to have made such a big promise, they have to know that it's happening because, like
Yeah.
you say, the backlash would not be worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not worth the hassle. I think they know. They know. And
So
like you
good for
said,
us. I'm
for us.
very excited.
100%. And like we've said throughout, they really feel like they have been listening to what people want and they've
Yeah.
really pulled through. So I'm like, good work. It's gonna be amazing. Well, so shall we jump into all the entertainment news? Because there was also a lot
Yeah, there's a lot too there. Oh my goodness. Wow.
wild. It's huge. Well, should we start up? We had some things that we knew about, but we got new tasters for, so stuff like Moana 2. We got a new trailer. What do you think about
Mhm.
Moana?
So with the entertainment panel, we heard a lot of numbers, lots of numbers.
Yes.
Yes.
2, 3,
One,
4.
3 and 4,
Yes.
multiple 2. I think out of the sequels to me, Moana 2 is obviously it's coming to theaters in November, so that one we'll get to see fairly soon here.
Looking forward to more coconut.
Yes, and more coconut people
Yes.
for sure. They're bringing Pua Pua now along because he felt a little bit unloved the last time around.
Yeah.
They brought out the Rock did a presentation.
Yep.
He was there marketing for Moana 2, and then he's also announcing this new monster truck
Yes.
movie.
Which sounds
something.
very interesting. It's called Monster Jam.
Yeah.
Very
I
interesting.
have no idea what this is going to be like.
Exactly.
So we'll have to wait
Yeah.
and see on that
They
one.
just had some fire coming on stage and slapped a little monster. They were like, okay, this is
Yeah, exactly. Thanks. A
You
very
do you, Rob,
brief
you do you.
announcement. Yes.
Frozen 3, they Jennifer Lee came out and talked about very, very vaguely, nothing,
Yep.
no details, nothing. They had the concept art for Frozen 3, and then
Yep.
she also potentially hinted that they're 3 and 4 are sort of like in production very, very close to each other.
Yep.
So probably like the next arc to Elsa's storyline.
Interesting.
No details at all whatsoever.
Yes.
So then Toy Story, are we on number 5 now?
Yeah, I think we're on 5.
Yes. There's a lot. I don't know if we need 5. Like 3 was like the perfect ending. 4, you were like, okay, it's not bad.
Pushing it. They're
It's
pushing it.
fine.
We've
Yeah.
got an entire land of Toy Story that we have to keep.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true.
The
Yeah.
interesting thing about the storyline is kind of toys competing with newer technology like electronics.
Well, I really do like the concept for this story, which
Yeah.
is kind of toys being neglected because there's now digital entertainment
Yeah.
for
Yep.
for the kids. So the kids occupied by the iPad are not playing with the toys. So I think the base idea for this is really good.
Very
So
current.
I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to this one.
And then Zootopia is a 2?
Yep.
Yeah,
Zootopia 2. Yes. That one we got to see a little bit of a teaser trailer. Looks fun. Looks kind of fun.
I like Zootopia. So
Same. And that's
You
going to
can-
be a great tie-in with obviously Epcot. You're having the new kind of attraction, so that's going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, with the Shanghai land already open. So I feel like now Disney is really trying to match up their IP from their entertainment and their parks, and they each kind of, push each other forward and complement each other. And then co-marketing, right? That's a huge
Yep.
part of it. In fact, Tron Ares, another one that's coming
Yes.
down the pipe. Tron 2, I mean, well, 3 now, Tron 3, but they renamed it as Ares. With a new ride in the Magic Kingdom, I think, there's
100%.
definitely a lot more interest in
Yep.
this IP because Tron, 80s, like or
Yep.
mid 90s. So, it's a little bit further out from the current generation. So that's introducing a little bit more,
Yes.
sparking a little bit more interest there.
100%. I think you're
I'm
so
pretty
right. I
sure we're
don't
gonna
think
get
they would
red
have done
lights
that.
on the
Yes. That would be so true. I think you're so right. I don't think they would have done this Tron film without the ride. And then because the ride's got this whole new generation, kind of like, oh, what's this? We can really
Yeah.
support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I guess what else did they announce? They threw us.
Let's have a little look. We saw another clip from Snow White.
Hey, are we ready to talk about this one? Are we
I
ready?
know, and I kind of feel like just can it. Just don't bother. I can't see.
I thought it
It
was
goes down
canceled until they
They
Yeah.
put a lot of money into this film. I
Oh,
think it's kind of hard for
oh,
them to walk away.
Yes.
I just, to me, the dwarves just looked slightly uncanny.
No.
So
a lot.
Yeah.
yeah, I was
And
kind
I
of,
think it's the thing, isn't it? It's been controversial from the get-go, and then kind of they went, "Oh, we don't want to have dwarfs because is it offensive?" Although dwarfs are actual people that exist, and then they went, "No, we'll go with the magical friends concept," and then that was really not popular. So then they went, "We do CGI
Back.
dwarfs," and I'm like, "But could we not just give little people actors?" Dwarfs?
yeah.
Because like they're so overlooked in society, apart from Peter Dinklage, and
I know.
no shade to him, but I kind of feel like he's part of the reason this is happening because he went, it's absolutely outrageous. You can't have dwarf actors in it. It's so offensive. And I get the
You
feeling
just
he
put
wants
a
to be
tweet
the
on.
main dwarf actor and he just keep holding all the roles. That's how I feel.
Yeah, it. Yeah, no, we saw some footage. We saw the song
Yep.
"Whistle While You Work," and then we also saw the trailer footage, obviously. But
Yep.
that one, I can't say that I'm all that excited about.
Yeah. I think that
Disney, yeah,
a lot of people feel the same because this is the thing, like the live actions are always very, I wouldn't even say hit or miss because I don't think there's been one that's been a breakout success. Like I think there's some that some people prefer than others, but I haven't really enjoyed any of the live action ones. And in fact, so Beauty and the Beast used to be my favorite Disney film, and the live action one ruined it for me. And I've never watched Beauty and the Beast since. And Snow White is my second favorite, and I'm not watching this. I'm not.
no, that one I think you're safer not watching it. And Beauty and the Beast,
Yes.
when that came out, I was like, that could be something, but then
Yeah, personally, I'm a big fan of animation.
yes,
I
Yep.
appreciate animation for like what you can do that
yeah,
you
Yes.
can't really, I mean, you can kind of recreate it now a little bit with CG,
yes,
but there's always, you just look at Aladdin,
Yep.
right? Aladdin, the genie, that's something that's uniquely animation can do that.
Yep.
And so I think when some of these, artists put all this work into these stories and they take advantage of that medium and then they try and redo it as some
Yep.
live actiony CG lifelike thing, I just feel like it loses a little bit. But I will say, talking about the live action, I am very much looking forward to the new Lion King movie. It's going in a completely different way than I
Yep.
thought it was.
Yep.
And I'm actually, it sounds like a really good story. So I'm actually very, very much looking forward to that one.
yeah,
Yes,
Mufasa.
I think you're so right that they've kind of taken the Lion King story, but then they've built its completely own, his own storyline. And I think like you're so right that is going to make such a big difference to it being something that's really enjoyable.
Yeah, I think so. I'm looking
Because
forward to
it's
it.
an original story, right? It's not a shot-for-shot remake of
Yep.
something that already exists.
And I like the
Exactly.
idea of them going back to Scar before he was Scar
Yes.
Yep.
and kind of, showing his journey about,
Yes.
what caused the future self.
Him to be him,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be so, so good. And like you say, like, yeah, the live action ones are always so difficult because I feel like I know obviously Disney has evolved since Disney passed away, but he was someone that was obsessed with innovation and he never wanted to do remakes, he never wanted to do sequels even. And I think they've been resting on their laurels because it's easy. Like the hardest thing about new movies is marketing, right? How do you
Yeah.
get people excited to see a film? But if you go, oh, but you know what Beauty and the Beast is like, people are going to go and see it. So even if they don't like the film, it's gonna be
Your
financially
audience is built
successful.
in. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
and think like
exactly.
Toy Story came out of it, like all
Yeah.
their like more recent big IP, they're all original stories
Yes.
that
Yeah.
came out of. Wall-E was huge.
Yes.
Obviously, a lot of the Toy Story ones when they first came out.
Yeah.
And then I understand why they want to do sequels of those. And some of those I want to see sequels.
Yeah.
But I'm actually very curious about the new Beaver movie. I
Yeah.
forget what's the name of that one?
Yes.
Hopper.
Yes.
So
It sounds an interesting concept.
Weird concept I'm very, very fascinated by.
I'm just imagining the pitch meeting for that, and it had to be like the pitch meeting for like, okay, hear me out.
Yeah.
There's a rat that wants to cook, and people are like, what? And then okay, this person wants to be a beaver, right? So
Yes.
I want to live amongst the beavers.
Yeah.
This sounds like a great movie. I just
Yes.
all you're gonna do is go in with no idea what you're about to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Like you say, I think it's such an intriguing and fun concept. Like, I'm so down for it.
And it looks cute too. It looks super cute.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they also announced Elio, which
Elio.
Thank you. I always mess up that name.
I think that's going to be a problem, isn't it? Because people are going to be like, how do we pronounce this?
So that the concept of that movie is they abducted this child from Earth, whom they think is the leader of Earth, and then adventures ensued.
Yes.
Which I think
But
could be
that one
really
also,
fun.
I think, be enjoyable.
Yes. And one thing we should touch upon, because I am not like a big fan, but we saw a glimpse of the live action Stitch, what he's going to look like. But I actually think it looked really good.
So the way they introduced Stitch, the movie, was pretty cute. They had, some signals that are coming in, the transmission coming into a Honda Center, right? People were chatting, and then Stitch somehow broke through the transmission and was trying to break into the Honda Center. And then, at the end, they're like, "Oh, here's Stitch too, Lilo and Stitch." Is it a sequel or is it a live action remake?
It's a live action remake, yes.
Okay.
Which will be
Okay.
interesting.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, exactly. Let's hope. But I thought he looked good. Like, I thought
He does look
skin on
good.
him looked good. So I'm like, okay, this is a good sign.
I think because he's an alien, there's
Yes.
a little bit of
More forgiveness,
flexibility
yeah.
in,
Yes, that's so true.
in having him
It's
versus
so
like
true.
something more that looks more human, I guess. So
Yeah.
that's just probably good.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
And I know we've touched upon Avatar. They announced that the next one is called Fire and Ash. So again, I think it's great you're learning more about the world of Pandora, which will be amazing. And I did hear previously that I'm really excited for the fourth one, just because they'd said when he submitted the script for it, and they said this has never happened, it had no notes. They were like, this is literal perfection. And I'm like, well, I can't wait for that. So I'm very excited to see 3 in the build up to 4.
so this one, I'm a little nervous about the characters and their journey.
Yeah.
What do you think? I think it's gonna take a pretty dark turn before.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does feel like that. And I think I'll be
Yes.
so interested because I really like when I saw the first Avatar film, it was that thing of because it was the first film that came out in the new 3D, everyone went to see it. And it was fine, but it wasn't like I need to see this over and over again. But I really liked the second one. And I really liked the messages it had about like, the kind of the destruction of the planet and nature and stuff like that. So I think, like you say, this one could have a dark turn, but that's also kind of perfect messaging.
Well,
Yeah,
how many films are they kind of planning?
I think
Like 5,
5.
right?
Yeah.
the number.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the new biome in this one and kind of seeing where we go. And I'm kind of curious to see. There was a shift a little bit from the first movie to the second movie on kind of like what because it was like the corporation. First, it was the military, right?
Yeah.
The first one.
Yep.
Then the second one, it was more like a mining corporation that was trying to terraform. And so I'm kind of curious to see like what that kind of antagonistic thread continues to be.
Yep.
And then I'm kind of curious to see what characters from the second movie kind of continue on in the journey with the family, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, true.
And maybe some of the kids decide to stay with their friends that they've made there. Like, are we going to see more time lapse? Are the kids going to be older? What's going to happen?
Yes.
So that's kind of like, how far is this going to be just after? Is this going to be a little bit further in the future? We'll see. So I'm looking forward to it.
And then just how far James Cameron can push the technology, because every single time there's a new Avatar movie, he really pushes the limit of how the thing is filmed. Yeah. So
well, the underwater
really
scene with Sigourney Weaver in like
Kate Winslet.
They basically filmed them underwater for
and she actually was able
4
to
minutes or something like that.
Olympic record for like for being able to hold her breath.
That's wild, isn't it? But yeah, like you said, I'm so excited to see this because I just think it's going to be, like you say, visually even more stunning. And what is the storyline going to be? I love that we just kind of don't know. We've got the title, but we have no clue.
Yep. And then I guess Mandalorian Grogu, that's confirmed. That's coming. Super excited
for this.
We saw snippets of it.
More Baby Yoda.
More Baby Yoda. Just give me more Baby Yoda. I'm happy about that.
Exactly, because I feel like I loved the second season of The Mandalorian is one of my all-time favorite like television series of all time. I felt like series 3, they wanted to expand the world and then it lost the heart because
It
what we're
did.
going to see is Mando and Grogu. I don't
Yeah.
care about the rest of it, if I'm honest. So I
Yes.
feel like the film's going to get back on track and their relationship's going to be the key. And I'm like, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like 3 was kind of fun to see the expanded
Yeah.
Mandalorian universe a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
But you're
Need to
right.
bring
I
it
think
back.
the core thread was kind of that more Western gunslinger, and then like,
Their relationship,
Yes.
his
right?
little sidekick,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
That was kind of like that simple storyline through the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see them get back to that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can't wait. I think it's gonna be so good. Like, and people just love the Mandalorian and Grogu. So I think they could give us anything, and I'd be like, this is the best thing ever. They could just have Grogu on the screen
Oh
doing
yeah, just
making
just him
noises, and
eating
I'd be like,
frog
brilliant.
soup. I'll just have him watch him sip frog soup for like 3
Well,
hours.
the thing that I really like that they do with Grogu is some of the, like the little childlike things that he does
Yes.
that if you're an adult, you're like, no, don't touch that, right? And he's like, but
Yes.
I want, and then eventually just,
So
Kate,
cute.
here's the ball, right? Just
Yeah.
There
It's
you go.
so cute. Yeah, the ball. I'm obsessed with the
A
ball and
piece
his
of baby.
relationship. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, more of that. That's one film. I'm like, you could do 20 sequels and I will see all of them.
And I guess Marvel announced a bunch of this one. I feel like with
Loads.
Marvel Universe, there's a lot of just Disney Plus things that are
Yes, yeah, it's
firm
interesting, isn't it? It
dropping.
does seem to be Disney Plus is the way forward for Marvel.
Yeah, yeah. The
Yes.
only movie I guess they announced that we saw the extended footage for was for Captain America: Brave
Yep.
New World.
Yep.
So Red Hulk is for sure coming. We know that is coming down the pipe. And then I think
they tease the Fantastic
they
Four.
teased the Fantastic Four. And they also showed us a little bit of footage from I want to say Ironheart, another Disney
Yep.
Plus series.
That one looks good.
Yeah, and people are
Yes.
really excited for Daredevil Born Again.
Yep.
That it's a
Amazing.
maturely rated Disney Plus TV show, which I think
Amazing.
that is,
I think Daredevil needs to be.
yeah, in the
Yeah.
spirit of the Netflix show, the continuity of that show. So I think people are
Yes.
super excited
Yeah,
about that.
Daredevil should be gritty. Like it should be.
100%.
And then I think Agatha All Along.
This looks
That one,
great.
like, I'm a huge WandaVision fan, so
Yep.
super excited for that to have some sort of a tie-in and being spun up off of that series.
Yes.
They teased the song, I guess Kristen
Yep.
and Robert Lopez. The Lopez's wrote another song. We know Agatha All Along was really popular back then, but then this is like a ding dong, the witches are gone.
Yes.
New rendition of that. So
Yes.
they brought him out.
Thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still working my way through Marvel because there's so much, and
There's
I'm
so
like,
much.
I really want to watch Agatha All Along because it looks amazing. But I'm like, I feel like I'm going to need to have caught up before I can watch
Well,
it.
I feel you. I'm behind on some of my
Yes,
shows
so much
as well.
content,
There's
you know?
a lot
Yes.
out there to take in.
You gotta do
Yes.
homework to be in the universe to be able to like
It's
understand
so
what is
true.
going on.
Yes, exactly that. So I'm like, I need to catch up before all of this comes out. I'm gonna have to gotta move on.
And then I guess they didn't announce it at the entertainment panel, but there was a panel on sort of the Marvel animation that is coming down the pipe as
Interesting.
well.
Yep.
So they teased X-Men 97 season 2 that's coming down. They also talked about Spider-Man freshman year, or your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yep. And then Eyes of Wakanda
Yeah.
looks really good.
Amazing.
So there's some really good animation
Yes,
coming
What If
out.
season 3,
Oh,
and
that's
then
gonna
the
be
Marvel
great.
Zombies. So those are it for the entertainment.
Well, the
I-
one thing that I wanted to mention, which I was so excited about,
Yeah.
was the trailer for Skeleton Crew.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
yes, yes,
Goonies
yes.
in Star Wars. So
Yes.
that looks good.
It looks so exciting, and like I think it looks so much fun. Like I saw someone say it's Goonies in space, and I was like, oh my god, it is! It's gonna be so good. And it's so weird though when you watch the trailer, kind of seeing like a suburban neighborhood in Star Wars, but it just looks like so much fun and such like adventure.
Well, the thing that I agree with you, and the thing that I think is most exciting is, when I used to read a lot of like expanded universe Star Wars books.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that's really fun to get to see here is now just more of that expanded universe outside of the kind of like the main plot lines, right? What
Yep.
is it like? And I think because of that, you can have the, you know, the characters and the different species and all this
Yeah.
dynamic environment, but then you can just explore stories in that space. So I think that that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be
Yes.
neat to see what they can do with more of a blank canvas, not
Yep.
tied to some other
Yes,
story plot.
100%. Yeah, that's going to be such the interesting part of it, isn't it? It's going to be like completely new and just so exciting. And I think like, you know, people love Star Wars because of the adventure element. And like when you have a show where it's around kids going on an adventure that is set in the Star Wars universe, I'm like, it couldn't be more perfect.
And I'm trying to think, we haven't had a movie or a show like this in a while. I mean, maybe Stranger Things was a little bit of a
Yeah,
harken back
True,
to that,
yes, yeah,
but there hasn't been a good kids go on an adventure show that I
yes,
can recall recently. So I think it'll be good. Okay, Percy Jackson.
yeah,
So Percy Jackson would
that's
count.
true. Yes, yeah, that's true. But yeah, I can't wait. And like we said, I mean, even this is a huge amount of news. It's just absolutely wild.
Did they announce when they're gonna have? I know Skeleton Crew is coming up, right?
It's
September?
December. Yes.
December.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then Agatha,
That's
that's coming
September.
September, yes. So yeah, it's nice that we're actually getting some stuff quite soon. It's amazing. It should be so good. And I'm thinking we should now move on to your D23 experience because it must have been so amazing. I can imagine it was tiring, but amazing to be there as these things are being announced and finding out about it. And also, I think it'll be interesting just to hear for people that don't know much about D23, what it is, how you go, and what the experience is like.
Mike.
All right, so D23 is when was D23 started? It's been what, 15 years, 14 years, something like that?
Yeah, 2009, I think, is the first.
So
I could be
it
wrong.
was started
Wrong.
basically as a big fan event, and it continues to grow.
Yeah,
And it's kind of like a Disney convention.
it is.
Yep.
DisneyCon. Think
Yeah,
of it as DisneyCon.
yeah. If you wanted to like short think of it, it's basically a Disney convention where a bunch of people that are fans get together and see like what's new. There's a bunch of vendors that specialize in, you know, Disney merch that you can get some limited edition runs there. You know, people get dressed up and all sorts of different cosplay and things like that and show up. And some of the costumes are amazing.
Incredible.
We did not dress up, by the way.
Yeah, we didn't, but it's really good. So you go, there's obviously there's stores, there's lots of panels. It's over 3 days. You can get a ticket for all 3 days. You can just pick one day that you want to come. All the tickets were released in March online. So you just kind of have to like log on at the right time and try and
100%.
score a ticket. This
Yep.
was the first year where for the bigger panels, they condensed them all into the evening, and they were over at the Honda Center. So the main kind of throughout the day, you're at the Anaheim Convention Center for the exhibits and smaller panels, and then they move you over to the Honda Center in the evening.
Yeah. This was our first year doing Disney, the Ultimate Fan event. Whereas before in previous years, it used to be called the D23 Expo.
Yep.
So how it works is that D23 Expo and Destination D23 are two fan events, but then they alternate the years. So the Expo is in Anaheim, Destination D is in Florida. So this year, since we had the fan event / Expo, so next year we'll be in Florida for a smaller venue, the Destination D.
Which if you want to try and check one out, and that's a good one to kind of get your feet wet and try it out.
It's pretty overwhelmed by this, actually.
Yeah,
at least I was.
It's a lot to take in.
It is.
But after it settles in after a while, but it is definitely hectic.
Yeah.
But the destination one next year, if anybody's looking to kind of like go to a slightly smaller event, and the nice part about that is everything's all pretty much in one room. So you know, you don't have to like constantly be running around a convention center to try and see stuff.
So experience-wise, I think the main takeaway is at these major conventions and, you know, like Comic-Cons or these things, you just know that you can't do it all. And so I think going into it, that was my mindset. Even though I tried to do as much as we could, and we attempted, but you can't. So FOMO will be real because you'll hear things, you'll see things from YouTube, whatever, and other people talking about it. You're like, wow, I wish I'd seen that. But at the same time, you also got to see the piece that you wanted to see. So
Yeah.
prioritizing, Disney will release the event schedule and the exhibits ahead of time. So we had to do a little bit of homework, but then we're Disney fans. We know going to Disney, you have to plan ahead.
Yeah.
So kind of like singling out the ones that you really want to do and plan around that. I think that is
Right.
huge.
I think a new thing they did this year was there was a virtual queue
Oh my gosh.
to get into the
Interesting.
shopping experiences.
Yep.
That unfortunately was a 4 a.m. virtual queue
Gosh,
that you had to
geez.
pull.
Oh my God.
So it was everybody at the convention set their alarms for 3:50 in the morning.
Yes, exactly.
Woke
Oh my
up,
gosh.
tried to get like whatever shopping they were trying to get, and everybody went back to sleep. Like it was kind of like this common
Yeah.
thing. Everybody we were talking to, they were like, "Yep, I was up at 3:50 this morning and went back to
I
sleep."
love that.
So when you were saying yes, it was tiring. Yes, it was. The days were long.
These were really
But
can't
I
even
will
imagine.
I will say, like, I felt great at the end of every day. I
Yeah.
felt like I had done a lot.
Yeah.
I was tired, but I had had a lot of fun throughout the day.
And then be prepared to just stand in line. Like Disney
Yep.
people, we are used to lines. We know
Yep.
that that's what's going to happen. So, and the thing is, because it's a smaller space from the theme parks, you're going to see a lot of people all the time. So
Right.
talking about, we talked about sort of downtime and quiet time. There is very little of that. So you are going to be with people.
But it was
Yeah.
kind of fun. We got to talking to people in
Yeah.
line and hearing where they're
Yes.
from, what's like their particular brand of Disney fandom.
Yep.
And you'd see them later and they might have a really cool thing. You're like, hey, where'd you get that? Or what
Yeah.
panel did you go see and talk? So a lot of the fun that I had was actually talking to a lot of the other people and finding out things that way. Maybe I missed a panel and somebody told me some neat things that went on in that. So that it was just a really fun environment to be in.
Yeah.
And the cast members
Yes.
that were running it, that it got better every day. Like
Yes.
they kept dialing it in. There was a couple times, especially the first day, where things were a little bit disorganized, but there was some amazing cast members that just helped us get wherever we needed to go and
Yep.
get things sorted out. So the cast members did a great job.
So when in doubt, ask cast members. Sometimes you might get different answers, but eventually they're going to be able to direct you to the right place. And I think one of the concerns that I had previous to coming to our first convention is that would we be able to get into the things that we wanted to get in? I think that's
Right.
one of the questions.
Yes, that's such a good point.
Yeah, but actually, like I said, if you plan ahead, you leave enough room. The convention center, the halls where they held the panels are pretty huge size. So
That's great.
we heard horror stories that people had to like camp overnight, stay up until like show up at 5 a.m. in the morning in order to, sit in on panels. That's actually not the case this year. But granted, previous years, the big panels like the parks and the entertainment panels, they were lumped in at the convention center, which I could imagine that would have been a much more competitive experience to get into.
So there was two things this year. This year, for the first time, when you got your tickets, shortly after that, you could enter a raffle to try and get a reserve spot for different panels.
Oh, interesting.
And one of the things, if you go with multiple people, once you get your tickets, you want to assign your tickets to individual people.
Yes.
So that each person can get a chance to get different, you can
Perfect.
Enter into lottery.
basically you
Yeah.
get that many more
Yeah.
entries, right?
Yeah.
And then
That's a
as a
good
group,
idea.
you get like you plus your whoever else was in your party can
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that way you get more chances. So if you want to go with like a group of people, we split ours up. So we had two. We heard it varied a bit. Like initially when this was first coming out, people were not happy because a lot of some people only got one panel. We were very fortunate between the two of us, we got 3.
Oh, that's
But what we found was we still had no problem getting into any panel that we wanted to go to. The only time I talked to somebody and they're like, oh, I wasn't able to get into a panel, and it was the parks food panel. But they admitted like, well, we kind of got there at the last minute and it was already full at that point. So in general, as long as you were getting there maybe 30 minutes before a panel,
minutes,
that was fine. In the past, they didn't have this policy and people would sleep out overnight to get on some of these panels.
Or like I said,
And across the board, everybody we talked to that had done that old way of doing it, they were like, this is better.
Yeah.
So even though this wasn't perfect, it's definitely much less stressful. I slept on the floor in an airport. I don't want to sleep on the floor in a convention center again, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were able to get into our panels. So that was the big stressor that I think a lot of people had.
And know the rules. I think that's the last thing I would say about the experience, because convention center, Honda Center, they all have different bag rules, camera rules.
Interesting.
So just make sure you read ahead, and things may change next year. Who knows? But understanding, do your homework, read the rules so that you're not caught surprised by the things that they're controlling for.
The convention floor was much more lax on camera equipment that you could bring in and things like that.
Yeah.
The Honda Center was pretty strict on bag sizes and camera equipment that you could bring in.
People have been turned away.
And they were turning people away. They did have, I guess like a tip I would have, they did have trucks there that you had lockers in them where you could essentially bag check at the at the Honda Center. But it cost a fee. The tip I would give you is at the convention center before you leave, they had complimentary bag check places where if you had something you wanted to leave, or a backpack or some merchandise you bought, just leave it there. Even the first night when they were having trouble getting people back from the Honda Center, the bag check was only supposed to be open an hour and a half after the Honda Center closed. The bag check stayed open late to make sure everybody got their stuff. So again, they went above and beyond just to make sure that people weren't getting there and the bag check area was closed. So just you check your bags before you go to the Honda Center and everything will be fine.
So that's pretty much all, about our experience. We had a great time.
Well, that was a little bit of a rant. Is there?
Oh, I love it. It was so handy to hear, because I think if you've never been, you don't know what the experience is like. And like you said, the fact that you're meeting with other people who love Disney and get it, and you can all share that. But like you say, it's not just these big announcements that you get to hear first. You've got the panels, you get to see like the Disney legends. So you get to see like these famous people or famous like Disney
Imagineers.
Well, I think one of the
it's amazing.
Yeah, and one example of that was a super pleasant surprise for me, because it was like the first panel in the morning. And it was on our second or third day? Second day. We went to the Tiana panel where they talked about like a little bit about the movie, but mostly like the ride and the upcoming series. And they had Anita Nona Rose. Sorry, Anika Nona Rose. She was there. A couple of the producers, directors, and some of the other head creative people were there, and just doing this amazing panel where they talked about the stuff that you really want to see at these panels, which is like the creative process, the behind the scenes, the stories of the things where if you weren't in the room when they were doing it, you would never know these stories. So one of the things that they shared was the cue music for the ride, kind of going back to the rides a little bit. The cue music for the ride was made by a bunch of world-renowned New Orleans artists, and they were working with a couple of them, and the local artists kind of just put out the call like, hey, we're doing this. And basically the who's who of all the music down there came together and made the cue music. So the cue you're sitting in is done with world-class artists doing the ride music that you're waiting in line for. And apparently they're going to be dropping an album. So if you go and you enjoy the cue music, that's something you can pick up.
That's incredible. But like you say, that's what's the amazing thing about like the panels and stuff, is you get this unique insight you wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. And like you say, when they say it's the ultimate fan event, they're not joking.
Oh yeah, and the fandom is fully on display. There is that was, again, I know I mentioned earlier, but to me that was definitely like a big point. It was just everybody was enthusiastic to be there. Check it out. The Imagineering booth for us was one of like our favorite experiences. We went a couple of times. I got to meet Lanny Smoot, who is like a big Imagineer. You got to meet Daniel Joseph, who did the Hatbox Ghost. And they spent a good amount of time just talking to people. And they were some of the nicest, most friendly people you would meet. So, if you're a fan of even like some of the behind the scenes stuff, this is a unique experience for you to get a chance to meet some of these people that create the magic.
Yes. But that's the thing, like the thing that I've really loved as well is that you vlogged this. So people should definitely go to your YouTube channel and check out the video because it's so nice to actually get to see it. It's great when you talk about when you get to see like this is what the experience is like. It's amazing. So thank you for sharing that with us because I've been loving seeing it.
Thanks, Sophie.
Yes, it's been so well. What a podcast episode this has been. It's been so much amazing news and like just like you said, the next couple of years for us is going to be incredible because the fans are just going to benefit massively. So I can't wait for all these changes.
I think it's a great excuse to go to the parks.
Exactly
That's
that.
what I was very happy.
Yes, and it's the best getting to chat to other people. Like when you look, so when the news came out, I was telling my dad, I was like, "Oh my god, this is happening." He's like, "Okay, that's nice," and I'm like, "He doesn't get it." But when you get to talk to other people that get it, you're like, "But
Get it.
I think this is, where are they going to put this?" Like it's so exciting.
Well, I think there's different levels because I had some family members that even they were excited
Yes.
about some of the stuff coming out, but it was very cute. Like you could see even the I think the more focused fans were like, oh no, like you said, oh no, where is this going? Right. And that
Yeah,
immediately
exactly.
became the thing the next week after they announced it. Everybody started speculating and
Yeah,
worrying about this ride or that ride or what are they going to do here.
it's
So
so true. But yeah,
like you said earlier, change is coming. Sometimes change is hard, but I'm very excited for the stuff that's coming out.
yes, and yeah, I think that is the perfect summary of this. It's just going to be an exciting time, and some of our favourites might be a bit different, but we're going to get brand new favourites. That's going to be good news for us. But thank you so much for agreeing to be on the podcast, and thank you for coming back, Jin. It's been absolutely wonderful. It's so great to meet you as well, Mike. And yeah, we'll have to do this more in the future because it's been awesome.
Thank you, Sophie. Always an honor being your first guest. Now we have Mike here, but looking forward to future conversations for sure.
It's perfect. And I will put all of the links to your channels down in the description box. So go and check out all the videos. Loads of amazing videos of visiting the parks, special events, how to, planning tips, like everything you could need, which is perfect. So definitely go check them out. Yeah, thank you once again. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day. And until next time, I hope you have a most magical day. See you soon. Bye-bye.
See you soon.